Good morning, everyone. So, we see a lot of new faces. Has anyone been taught by me before? Some of you were in NCRT batches, I believe. Yes. I can see those. Others are all new. New to UPSC or like new to just this class or courses? How many of you are facing this very first class for UPSC? Raise hand. Never ever took a class of UPSC. Oh, okay. Interesting. So, others full on experience now with UPSC, going through everything. The journey has already begun for some of you. Okay, so this is going to be our course of discussion for the next around 3 weeks, where we'll be covering the topic Indian polity. So if you look at, say, GS paper 2, there are 4 GS papers, the pattern and stuff. I hope you're aware of that. The prelims, mains, all that nonsense, right? Interview, that's the aim ultimately. So in the main examination, the second paper, that is GS paper 2, it comprises of 4 subjects or 4 topics rather. These are the 4 topics. You have, of course, IR, international relations. Then you have social justice, you have governance, and polity and constitution, right? So these 4 things make up GS paper 2. Every such GS paper is of how many marks? 250 marks. Okay. So now when we begin our discussion on any kind of topic for UPSC, there are 3 things that we have to understand. First up, why are we studying this topic? I mean, why are you wasting your time in the morning? You could have been sleeping, have had a nice sleep, right? With a binge watching of some series yesterday night and then slept late till morning. Enjoyed your life. You're here suffering, struggling, right? Half awake, half asleep because of some purpose. And the purpose is, how do you get to know why should I be studying Indian polity? Why not some other subject? The point is, the number of questions being asked from this examination or from this topic. If this topic yields a lot of questions in the exam, it makes the topic important. If from this topic you had only 1 question out of 100 questions in prelims, I'm sure you'd skip this topic. 1 question, how does it matter, right? So of course you have a lot of questions from this topic, right? So just have a look at this. These are the number of questions asked from polity and constitution. Just the first topic here, polity and constitution. So number of questions asked. So you can see on an average out of 100 questions in the prelim examination, around 15 to 20 questions would come solely from polity, right? And a good thing is that these questions are extremely easy compared to other topics in the prelims. So you see from 2011 onwards, we have had 12, 20, 18 questions, 13 questions. Let's draw a line here. Why am I drawing a line here? Is because, before 2015, the cutoff for prelims included both GS 1 and 2. CSAT was not a qualifying paper. So the cutoff is something that we don't really focus on. Say the cutoff in 2013 was 241 because we had to add the marks of paper 1 and paper 2. But from 2015 onwards, the cutoff solely depends on your score in GS paper 1. Okay. And yes, initially the cutoff was slightly higher in 2015, 16. We had cutoffs of 105, 116, 117 marks out of 200. But from 2017 onwards, we have seen a dip in the cutoff. Firstly 105, then 98 marks being the cutoff. Then it fell down further to 91, 87. In fact, the last time, that was in 2023, the cutoff was 75 marks. 75 out of 200. This is the GS paper 1, that is prelims. Out of 200. 38% is what you need to score to clear the prelims. And out of those 75, 76 marks, 15 marks, that is 15 into 2, 30 marks questions are from polity. So if you can score around 80-90% in polity, you are almost 1/3 way there in your prelims, right? So that is why this subject is very important, because it will fetch you those marks. Very easy to score marks in polity in prelims compared to other subjects, right? So yes, this cutoff also makes us realize one more thing, is that when we start practicing our answers, solving mock tests, don't panic too much when you don't score good marks, because the cutoff is not 70-80%. The cutoff is just 50%. So even if you get around 50-60% marks in your mock tests when you practice, that's a pretty decent score. So forget those school days idea, no? Getting 98% marks, 99% marks, 99.6, and still a sad face. Have you seen those toppers? Never happy. Let them come to UPSC. When they score 50%, then they'll realize, oh, this is a different game. That's one thing for us. The same thing goes for your main exams also. In the main examination, we have how many marks? 250 marks. So out of 250 marks, around 100-110 marks questions come from polity and constitution. I'm excluding governance, right? Governance is a separate module. So from governance, from social justice, from IR, you'll get around 150 marks questions, and 100-110 marks questions come solely from polity. Okay, so sometimes maybe around say 100-110 marks, sometime 115, this was 115 marks, so on and so forth. Clear? So this is number one as to why we are studying this topic. Second important aspect that we need to know is the syllabus. Okay, so what exactly is the syllabus of polity for prelims as well as your main examination? So this is your syllabus for prelims. UPSC has not really clarified exactly what this means. So they have just mentioned some random topics like say Indian polity and governance. Now, since we are discussing Indian polity, what do you mean by polity? Any idea? What is the meaning of this word polity? We have come here to study polity, right? So please tell me, what is meant by polity? Functioning of government. Okay. Polity simply means form of government. That's the meaning of this word polity. Form of government. So we have to study about the Indian form of government. We follow a certain pattern. You must have heard this term called parliamentary form. So we follow this parliamentary form of government, and we have to study everything about it. So Indian polity, that is Indian form of government, and of course governance, the constitution. They have mentioned this word constitution, but trust me, you don't have to study all of it. In fact, just 1/3 of it is what we need to study, right? So don't go crazy for studying the entire book. I have to mug up all the articles, everything. Not required. I'll be telling you time and again as to what article is important, what article is to be skipped and not to be covered. Okay. Then the political system that we function within. And then they have also mentioned a topic called Panchayati Raj. Any idea Panchayati Raj? The local self-government, right? Yes, at the village level. At the urban level, we have a similar term. What is that called? Municipality. Municipality, or you may call it in a bigger city, municipal corporation, municipal councils. So in the rural areas, what you have is called a panchayat. Urban areas a municipality. So there is something that is mentioned in your syllabus. Now, Panchayati Raj as a topic is mentioned, but this topic does not give us questions in prelims. From Panchayati Raj, you will get questions in the main examination every year. It's a guarantee, right? So this is a highly mains-oriented topic. Though you can always expect questions from this in your prelims examination, but that's very rare. In fact, in the last 7-8 years, they've hardly asked a question in your prelims, despite mentioning it here, but you don't ask questions. Then public policy with respect to what policies, etc. are being made in the country right now, what schemes, programs are being covered right now. And lastly, rights issues, etc. Rights issues meaning fundamental rights, DPSPs, all these topics. And those questions are pretty easy and lame. say fundamental rights as a topic. They don't ask you complicated questions from there. So this is a prelim syllabus. Nothing is clarified, nothing has been mentioned in detail. So we'll have to go through the main syllabus to see what exactly is required. So this is the main syllabus, slightly more elaborate. So you can see here, this is the entire main syllabus, which is more elaborate than your prelim syllabus. We'll go through this only, step by step, to understand what is the need of the exam first, and then we'll dive into some basic information. Okay. Did you all get the notes, the printed ones? No? So what you'll get right now are the class notes. Primarily, let them give it to you first, and then we'll discuss how to go about it and what to do. So we'll try to not waste too much time in writing most basic things. So those notes are going to be your final notes on which you write everything. So I have left blank spaces where I'll dictate certain things in the class. Otherwise, basic things are things that I mentioned there, so that we don't waste too much time in writing stuff that is already there. Like you see, the very first thing, you have all the syllabus mentioned there completely. There is no need to write it separately. Is the font size okay? Not too small, right? Okay. And when you see the spaces, that's where we'll use to write things. And please try to incorporate everything. So, please try to incorporate everything that I say on these notes itself. Okay? So, like you can mention this here, polity, form of government. So, just go to the prelim syllabus. Right? So this is how we'll keep on adding things on the notes. You have plenty of blank spaces. That's where you'll write. So we'll write some things, but not the very generic ones. It just wastes time. Okay, good morning. Bhuvaneshwar, Hari Chandana, Nagadatta. Sir, how can we get notes? You will get your notes. Is there some Telegram group or something? Okay. So I'll ask the team to upload the notes there, and you guys can get your notes from there. Take a printout of it. We'll get you those notes before the class. You can take a printout and then use it, or else if you want to write in your handwriting, copy it in your notes. Simple. Okay, so should we begin now? So go one bit in, I think. So this was your prelim syllabus. Okay. No clarification by UPSC, nothing whatsoever. They just make generic statements. But yes, the main syllabus, if you can go through it, it has been clarified in quite detail. We'll go through the main syllabus now. Okay. There are a lot of words that you won't understand, so don't panic. It's all in control. We have around, say, 80 hours of classes to understand these things. Okay. So, first up, where is... Okay. So, first up is the Indian Constitution, historical underpinnings. This is a topic you'll be covering in your history, modern India, where you have all these regulating acts, Council Act, Government of India Act, etc. So this is a part of your modern history where you will be covering those things in your modern history, historical underpinnings. Okay. Then the evolution and features. Feature is something that we'll be covering throughout the classes. Important aspects of our constitution, right? The basic features that we have. Then amendments. What is meant by amendment? Any idea? Changes, modifications. There are various ways to amend the constitution, but here they refer to the way to amend through a procedure which makes big changes, etc. Now, Indian constitution is quite flexible in nature, but sometimes some things are difficult to change. But we still allow for change, right? We allow for very healthy change to be made because this is called a living document. It always keeps on growing. You cannot make a static book and keep it fixed for generations. You have changing socio-economic and cultural circumstances, and this rule book needs to evolve slowly and steadily. And that's what we aim to do. And hence the scope for amendments is always there, right? So far we have made how many changes? Any idea?
106.
So far we have made 106 changes. That's a pretty big number. Why I say this is because if you look at the US Constitution, USA, it was made in 1789. And so far, they have made only 27 changes in over 240 years. But we have made 106 changes. A lot of these changes are very cosmetic in nature also. But yes, changing Indian constitution is slightly easier compared to, say, a US constitution. Okay. Now, of course, we won't go through all those 106 changes. Just a few of them, the important ones. Then the significant provisions. So this is a very good clarification from UPSC that we have to only go through the significant provisions, not all the provisions. There are over 470 articles in the constitution. Not everything is to be covered. Significant ones, important ones. And then of course, basic structure. So we saw amendments, right? We can modify everything. That's a great thing, right? We can keep on making changes. But India is a democracy. Would you agree on that? Yes. At least somehow it's a democracy still. We go to vote. Now, can we change this and make it a, let's say, monarchy? No? Should we? Is the question. Should we make kings and queens again? Of course not. Now, some things can't be changed. Those are things we have decided that these things will not be changed. So those things that cannot be modified are what are referred to as the basic features, which are a part of this structure that you cannot modify, called the basic structure. The idea is that the house has been constructed, right? You can change the wall paint, add some new paintings, motivational posters, etc. Hang some photograph on your wall, enter at your own risk kind of thing. You can do all this nuisance. You cannot strike down the entire building, demolish it. Okay. So those basic features can't be changed. That is what is called basic structure. We'll discuss what is this concept, what exactly are those things called basic structure, and then how did we arrive at the concept of basic structure. Clear? Okay. Then the functions and responsibilities of the union, meaning center and the states, their functions, their responsibilities, and of course, issues and challenges pertaining to the federal structure. What is the meaning of this word federal? Any idea? Federal simply means where you have division of power. Division of power between center and states. That's called federal. A division of power, a distribution of power between center and states, where you have two levels of government. Any kind of governing structure which has two levels, central and state government. And of course, this topic is also very important, issues and challenges. Why? Because, different ruling parties at center and states, they keep on fighting. You saw the whole issue going on right now with Tamil Nadu. The Tamil Nadu governor versus the Tamil Nadu government. Governor is appointed by the center, so it's an issue between Tamil Nadu government and the central government. So yes, this topic is important, issues and challenges pertaining to the federal structure. Then the next topic is devolution of power. Devolve is to provide, share at the lower level is called devolve. So devolution of powers and finances. What is finance? Money. Finances up to what level? What is local level? Local level means your panchayats and municipalities. This is what is called local level. So what kind of functions can we provide to municipalities? What kind of functions can we give to panchayats? The money that they need to perform those functions, etc. Right? And this is a very important topic. You will get one question from this topic in your main examination. That's a guarantee. I mean, in the last 11 years, except I think 1 year, we always had a question from this topic in the main exam. So you will have one question in your main exam from this topic. Okay. If you're very lucky, maybe not. Otherwise, you'll have a question from there. And the challenges, of course, that the panchayats, municipalities face. They face a lot of challenges. One very typical challenge that they face is the concept of panchayat pati or sarpanch pati. Have you heard of this? No? Panchayat pati or sarpanch pati is a concept where you don't have a pati for the entire sarpanch, no, not that. It simply means that there is a lady who gets elected as a sarpanch, but she will not go to the meetings. Her husband goes to the meetings. That's the concept of panchayat pati or sarpanch pati. It renders the entire idea of empowerment of women useless, right? I mean, you have made this reservation policy. That okay, we'll reserve some seats for women, financial assistance for them, make them more assertive, etc. And then she is not being allowed to go and take her seat in the panchayat. And what's the point of reservation, right? So it's a very serious concept, problem. So there are several such challenges that plague our panchayats and municipalities. We'll be covering all of them. Then of course, separation of powers. Separation of powers refers to the separation between the three organs. What three organs? Okay, very good. LEJ, legislature, executive and judiciary. Three organs. Separation of powers between various organs, disputes, redressal mechanisms and institutions. How to resolve the disputes. Especially with the rising authority of judiciary. You see the discussions are going on right now on judiciary interfering everywhere, giving directions to everybody, acting like the boss. Even though you find huge amounts of cash in some judge's house. Did you see the news? Yes. What happened to the judge? Nothing. Transfer was already a part of what was going to happen before that. Nothing happened. Some in-house inquiry is going on. Imagine you are caught robbing and stealing, and then when people ask, punish him, you say, no, my parents are inquiring against me. Is that fair? So, and this comes from the topmost organ, right, where, I think some claims are coming out that the amount of currency ranged from anywhere between 15 crores to 50 crores of cash in the house of an honorable judge. That's what we call them, right? Honorable judges, honorable court. It's not so honorable act of the very honorable judge. But we don't know. Maybe you must have kept it for something in future. How do we know, right? So recently we saw the great marriage celebration of Arvind Kejriwal's daughter. Did you see the videos? No. Arvind Kejriwal, you know him? Very honest Aam Aadmi Party representative. And he was celebrating his daughter's marriage. He was dancing, of course. The dance was pathetic, but that's not the point. I mean, he's not a dancer after all, right? But he had booked Shangri-La. The entire cost of wedding is being termed as around 15-20 crore rupees. He was a government employee earlier. And then the chief minister with a limited salary. How can they spend 15 crores on just a wedding? Of course, there is something wrong, right? So even the most self-proclaimed honest people have been involved in acts of corruption, right? So yes, all the issues, disputes, concerns that plague the LENJ, we'll be discussing those things also. Then we have the parliament. That is going to be a slightly larger topic to cover. Very easy but very large, because we'll be covering a lot of things under parliament. How are members elected? What is the functioning of the parliament? How do you hold the government accountable? What happens in the parliament on a daily basis, etc. All these will be covered. And then the state legislatures, their structure, their functioning, their conduct of business, their powers, the privileges that they have, and issues arising out of these privileges. All these things. Then the structure, the organization and the functioning of the executive as well as the judiciary. So we'll cover everything as far as judiciary is concerned. We have the various courts, how are judges appointed, what is the collegium system, how are they removed, if they can be removed at all, what's the procedure, what are the powers and functions that they exercise, every such thing. Then in our country, one very important aspect is to ensure the accountability of the governments. You ensure that they perform continuously. If they don't, we can maybe remove them, not at any point of time, but after say 5 years, by not voting for them. That's an easy way to remove them, right? What is that called? Elections. We have periodic elections every 5 years. Now, to govern the conduct of elections, we have two laws in the country. The first one is called RPA 1950. Second is called RPA 1951. RPA is this Representation of People's Act. So there are two laws. One is of 1950. The more important one is of 1951. But we'll cover both these laws. Okay. These are laws dealing with electoral matters, conduct of elections, who can be a voter, who cannot be a voter, how can you disqualify these candidates from contesting elections, what happens if a sitting legislator is held guilty of some crime, will he be disqualified or not, etc. All these things. And also, this is an important topic, though in the last couple of years, UPSC has not focused on it much, but I think in 2018, 19, 20 period, they went crazy. Every year, one question from RPA. But they have stopped now. Maybe they have over asked the question. So maybe after a gap of 1-2 years more, again, they'll come back to RPA and ask more questions. Okay. Then the appointment to various constitutional posts. So we'll be covering under our polity classes posts like NCSC, NCST, NCBC, then ECI, and then Finance Commission, and one more post called Special Officer for Linguistic Minorities, right? Just these. The other kind of bodies which are constitutional, like say CAG, maybe UPSC, your body, all these will be covered under your governance classes, okay? Because those are topics that relate to transparency, accountability. And in governance, you have a very important topic that is called role of civil services in a democracy. Meaning, what is the role that you are expected to play in the country? Okay, role of civil services. So under that heading, we'll be covering this topic called UPSC and the very non-corrupt SPSCs, right? You know SPSCs, right? How regular they have their exams and all. Beautiful. So we'll be covering state public service commissions also. Then the powers, their functions, the responsibilities of various such bodies. NCSC stands for the National Commission for Scheduled Castes. NCST is the National Commission for Scheduled Tribes. This is for the backward classes. ECI stands for Election Commission of India, and FC stands for Finance Commission. Now, again, details later on. And then we have statutory, regulatory, and various quasi or quasi. Both are correct. Quasi is the more British pronunciation. Quasi is more American pronunciation. Whatever country you are a fan of, you can pronounce accordingly. Quasi, quasi does not really matter. Quasi or quasi simply means partial, semi. So, quasi-judicial meaning what? Semi-judicial. Somewhat like judiciary. Not fully judiciary, like judiciary. So, a very good example of this is these bodies called tribunals. Okay. Tribunals is a very good example of something which is partially judicial. Okay. And then, of course, statutory bodies. Statutory, what is the meaning of this word statutory? Statutory comes from the word statute. S-T-A-T-U-T-E. Statute simply means law. Okay? Law. If you want to keep things simple, law. If you want to impress somebody, statute. That's it. They are just synonyms of each other. So statutory means what? Legal bodies. Can you tell me any statutory body? A legal body? Anything? A body made by law, which is not mentioned in the Constitution. Human Rights Commission. There is a body called NHRC, National Human Rights Commission. It is not mentioned in the Constitution. It is made through a law. Right to Information Act is a law. The body is called CIC, Central Information Commission. Somebody is saying something. NCW, okay. The Commission for Women, made in 1992. That's also a statutory body. Any body that the Parliament creates is a statutory body. We'll discuss this later on, the differentiation. So this is your syllabus for the entire GS paper to a small part of it. So don't faint, sir, this is too much of syllabus now. We'll be covering, it's not that difficult. Once you get hold of some basic aspects, it's very easy. So before you move on, let me just, if we have some space, just summarize the entire syllabus. So please write the heading syllabus. And so what do we need to cover? So you have the empty space there. We'll use the spaces like this only. Okay. First thing is the Constitution. Again, we'll be covering not the entire Constitution, a small part of it only. I will tell you which articles are important. So please read those articles only. If in case you want to read other articles, you are free to do it. Who is stopping you from reading nonsense things? Nobody. But firstly, the exam, then extra information. Okay. Second one is, of course, Supreme Court verdicts. Supreme Court judgments or verdicts, decisions. In fact, sometimes opinions also matter. They have not given a judgment, they have just expressed their opinion on a certain aspect. And UPSC asks a question on those opinions also. Okay. Verdicts and opinions. Now, my point here is, when it comes to these things, why am I mentioning this? In case you have this very bad habit of reading the newspaper on a daily basis. You know newspaper, right? It comes daily, you have to read it also. No? You should, ideally. So when you go through the newspaper, you will find, let's say, Supreme Court observation somewhere. That should be a part of your notes. Now don't write the entire article, just summary of it in one line. Right? So focus on those aspects. Not what Rahul Gandhi ate yesterday evening, where did Modi ji go 2 days back, not this information. The important ones, relevant for our examination. Okay. Then of course, the statutes, there are some laws in the country which are very important. I gave the example of, laws like RPA 1950, 51, etc. Some important laws need to be covered. We'll cover those laws in brief. Okay. There are plenty of them which need to be covered for the exam. Apart from this, sometimes, what is executive? Executive means government. So executive orders. Governments might issue some orders, some notification which becomes news. So some of those notifications are also important that need to be covered as a part of a syllabus. And lastly, there are certain things that are called conventions. What are conventions? What do you mean by convention? Any idea? Convention?
Conventions and convictions.
Conventions and convictions. But what's the meaning of convention? You're saying something.
Agreements.
No, not that convention. Convention or maybe something like a custom or tradition. Conventions are customary ways of doing things. That's how things are being done. It is more like a custom or a tradition. Now, why would we need to study customs and conventions? No, customs and conventions, political ones, not the ones that you are following in your house. Political conventions. I'll give a simple example. I hope you have heard of this person called governor, right? Every state has a governor. Who is the governor of your state? Any idea? VISHNU Verma is the governor of your state. Great. Which state does he belong to? Is he a localite? No. He is from Tripura. Right. The governor of Tripura is from Telangana. The governor of Andhra Pradesh, your neighboring state, S. Abdul Nazir, he is not a localite. You go to Karnataka, Thawar Chand Gehlot, not a localite. It's very strange, right? Any state you go to, the governor there is always an outsider. No? Have you? You'll observe this if you find out that in every state you go to, the governor is always somebody who is not from the state. He's an outsider. This is not mentioned anywhere in the constitution or any law. What is the qualification to be a governor? So the constitution says that under Article 157, the qualification to be a governor is you have to be a citizen of the country and the age of 35 years. That's it. That's it. Nothing else. But we follow this practice so closely that a governor must always be an outsider. Right? Why? The logic is that, if he's an outsider, he might not get involved in local politics, will not come into conflict with the chief minister, will be free. Let the CM run the state freely. So an outsider. This is called a convention, which is not mentioned anywhere, but is strictly followed. You might feel that this is like a law. It's always being followed, but it is just a tradition, just a convention, just a custom, a traditional way of doing things. And this custom has always been followed. It has never ever been broken except once. In 1967, there was a case in Kerala where Venkat Vishwanath was the governor of Kerala. And he belonged to Kerala. Though he was an IAS officer, he was from MP cadre, Madhya Pradesh posting. That's the only exception of this practice. There are various such practices. A lot of you would not know this, but there is a concept called money bills. Any idea? Money bills. Bills are proposals in the house. So when you have to pass anything and make it into a law, the first step is bringing a proposal. You discuss the proposal, MPs will vote on it, and it becomes a what? A law, right? So there are certain types of proposals which require you to spend money. Government spends money on various things. That's called a money bill. Now, money bill is always brought by the minister, right? It is not mentioned anywhere. Neither the constitution, nowhere is it mentioned that the money bill must be brought only by minister. That's a convention, a practice, a custom so strong that if you ask this to a lot of people, they might get confused. Is it not mentioned anywhere? How is it possible? That's how sincerely it is being followed in the country. But it is just a tradition, just a custom, a political convention. So some conventions are very, very important, which are being followed strictly in the country without being mentioned anywhere. In no law is there a reference for it. We'll follow those conventions also. Clear? Okay. So this is actually going to be your syllabus to cover as far as your GS paper 2, Indian polity and constitution is concerned. So two things are covered. Number one, why are we studying this topic? Because of number of questions being asked. And second is the syllabus. That's also important. Now, third thing, of course, is to know that magical book list. That if I could get hold of those books to study, I could mug up those things and vomit on paper and get full marks, rank 1. So what's that magical book list that you have to study? So first up, we have these two NCERT books of 9th and 10th. So on the last meeting when we had, some of you were available, we had covered 9th and 10th NCERT. Okay. For others, anyway, these are very simple books. If you want to study, you can study it. If you want to skip it also, you can skip it. It might not do great harm because we'll be covering a lot of topics beyond this. Right? So, 2 books, heading Booklist please. And the first book is Democratic Politics, Part 1, Class 9th. And second is Democratic Politics, Part 2, Class 10th. Just write the names, don't draw this diagram, not required. Right? These 2 are optional completely. If you want to study, go for it. If not, no problem. Clear? Okay. So part 1, part 2, class 9, 10 NCRTs. Now next 2 books are slightly more important and they need to be studied. NCRT books. These are also NCRT books, both of them. At least this is mandatory, you have to read this book. It has 10 chapters, political theory, class 11th. You can either download it online free of cost, or it's an NCRT book, it's already very cheap. You can purchase it. Better to purchase it. This book must be read cover to cover, all 10 chapters, very easy to understand. It will give you a lot of fodder material for your answer writing. Clear? Mandatory. So I would expect you to read 1 chapter per day till we are here, till at least I am here for the next 3 weeks. So what we can do is read 1 chapter per day. Once you are done with 10 chapters, again come back to revising the chapter 1, 2, 3, 4 again. So if you can read this book 3 times, that would be great. Okay. And that should be your practice for your preparation also. If you do not, or if you are not able to revise something multiple times, don't read it only, because there is no point. Without revision, you cannot recollect anything. So revision is key to clearing the examination. The most boring part is revision. And that's the most important part. Revising 4, 5, 6, 10, 20 times. As much as you can. We wish we are all chitti from robot, right? Just turn the pages and mug up everything. That's not possible. We tend to forget. So we have to revise. It has 10 chapters. This also, again, this could be an optional thing for you. Those who feel that maybe, anybody here in the first year, second year of college? No one. First year. Okay. First year. Okay. So you guys can maybe go through it. Again, 10 chapters. So when I cover some topic, I'll tell you, like say we'll be covering executive. So you can read the chapter 4 from it, executive, while we take the topics in the class. Others may choose to skip it also. This is not that important because we'll be covering this book only in way more detail. So again, it's up to you. Though ideally, if you want to study, that will be great. Okay. So now why do I stress so much on this book called Political Theory to study? This was the question asked in 2019 mains examination in UPSC. Let's read the question. But before that, since 2014, we have been constantly in the country discussing on secularism, right? That secularism is under threat in the country. It is suffering. People are suffering. There's a divide in the country on the basis of religion. All this is there. And we can discuss the entire day about all those things. But UPSC asked a question which was exactly opposite of what the discussion was in the country. Look at the question now. It says, what can France learn from the Indian constitution's approach to secularism? Forget what the world is saying. How is it being threatened, etc. You tell me, what can other countries learn from Indian concept of secularism? Right? So see how the questions are asked. Exactly opposed to what is the ground narrative being discussed in these daily news channels. They are fighting and arguing on issues of Indian secularism. And UPSC says, no, tell me some good things. Forget the issues. Right? A similar kind of question was asked last year also. Discuss India as a secular state and compare with the secular principles of the USA. Now, USA and France both follow a similar concept of secularism. Don't worry, these questions will be covered under our fundamental rights chapter. So these questions will be mentioned in your booklet also. So India, USA, France, all these countries follow a Western concept of secularism. Details later on. But you see the comparison questions being asked again and again. And you'll be surprised that this topic is covered beautifully, not in your class 9, 10th NCRTs, but also in this book. There's a chapter 8 of this book called Secularism, and it beautifully covers the difference between the Indian model and the Western model, right? So you can see chapter 8. So please don't ignore the NCRTs, right? You have to follow NCRTs, read political theory, cover to cover, right? So this is about our book reference and the book list. We'll just summarize this book reference, but before that, two more important things. One is this book that you all need to study. You must have this book already. Lakshmikant, right? 7th edition, maybe 6th edition, does not matter. If you have the 1st edition, then buy the new one. But if you have the 5th or 6th, it's okay. Maybe you can get a photocopy of the new chapters. That will be sufficient. Okay. And also this book need not be covered from page to page, cover to cover. I will tell you which chapters are important. Please read those chapters first. Others you can always read when you are free. Okay. And apart from it, see, every aspirant should have a copy of the Bare Act. What is meant by Bare Act? Bare Act means the articles of the Constitution. No explanation, nothing. Just all the laws mentioned. So there are various publications. You can choose PM Bakshi Universal, you can choose Professional, etc. I mentioned 3 different ones because I am not being assigned by these 3. I'm not their marketing agent, right? If I pick only one, you'll say, oh, maybe he's getting some commission. That's why he's referring. So I have put 3 photos. Any publisher you want, no problem. Okay, but have a copy of it. We'll have to study these articles on our own. It's important. It builds the language that you need to write in your answers also. Okay, so preferably any of these books, plus it will also look nice on your shelf. You can take a selfie and show to people, see, I'm a sincere aspirant. At least for that you can do it. And if you say, no sir, I have no money, I've spent everything in coaching, etc., it's all gone, I have only a small amount left just for my regular parties and stuff, no problem. This is available free of cost. Please Google search for Constitution of India PDF. You will get this free of cost available, right? Let me just show that to you if the net is working. Okay. Legislative website. This is a Government of India's website, not run by me, so feel free. Various versions are there. You can pick and choose any version you want. I would prefer having the English version of it. So you can see, download this, it's free of cost. Okay, did we choose the English version? This is an entire Indian Constitution available free of cost. You can download it, save it with all your other notes which you will never open ever again. Just download them. Here we'll have to study this. It's important. Clear? Okay. So let's now just summarize the book list once again. See, there can be multiple things to cover, but we will cover the most basic ones. So the book list summary, number 1, we have to firstly cover class notes. Like every faculty, I'll claim the same thing, my class notes are amazing, right? So please study class notes. That's the first thing you will do. Mug up the class notes. Every single point that is mentioned there, plus the points that you write. That's task number 1. Second is, we'll also be remembering or going through the Bare Act. Carry a copy of it if possible, right? So after every topic, I'll tell you which articles are important. You can read those articles separately. Apart from it, number 3, please cover political theory. That needs to be covered. It's mandatory. Class 11th NCRT. Number 4, we will also or rather you can refer to Lakshmikant as and when required. So when I cover a topic, I'll tell you, read this chapter, you can read that chapter in case you want to get some additional information or you don't understand certain things. Okay. Beyond this, we need to also follow current affairs. Yes, that is required. So, in fact, GS paper 2 and 3 are more current affairs oriented. So, yes, please follow current affairs. For current affairs, we have to read the newspaper. So, newspaper, which one would you read? You can either read the Indian Express or the Hindu. Both are equally good. You can pick and choose anything. I would prefer read the Indian Express. It is more balanced, has better quality articles, better authors writing in it. But if you have already emotionally attached yourself to the Hindu, no problem. That no, I understand this newspaper. I have purchased a subscription of it. If not, prefer the Indian Express, but not the new Indian Express. Indian Express, if it comes in your city. Otherwise, anything is okay. Both are equally good. Just don't go and start reading Times of India and all. Great newspapers, not for UPSC. I mean, those are newspapers for fun. Which actor ran away with which actress, right? When you eat tomatoes, you become tall. We don't want this kind of news, right? Not our concern. So, and yes, if you don't have time for the newspaper, no problem. At least read the editorials. This is mandatory. Try to devote some time into reading at least the editorials. You can skip the newspaper, no problem. But if you are skipping the newspaper, you have to mandatorily cover monthly magazine. So, the coaching institutes will have monthly magazines. You have monthly magazine or weekly? What is that? No idea? Monthly. Okay. So, you'll get a monthly magazine from here. Please cover it. If you are covering the monthly magazine, meaning reading it 3 times, then you can skip the newspaper. No problem. Clear? Apart from this, you also have 2 magazines called Yojana and Kurukshetra. Now, these magazines have monthly editions on some topics. It's very cheap, 22 rupees only. Don't purchase it. Not required. Hear me out. We will be covering this, but these magazines have articles which are in a lot of detail. They contain a lot of information, some localized case study, which is not important for your exam. So you can Google search for gist or summary of these magazines. Summary. There are various institutes, various websites which will give you the summary of these magazines. Take a printout of the summary and mug it up every month. That should be your task. And these magazines will not only help you in GS paper 2, also 3, also 1, social issues, social Indian society, also 4, ethics, also essay paper. So these 2 magazines have a lot of comprehensive coverage on multiple topics. Are we clear? So if possible, the summary you can download, you can Google search for Yojana, say March 25 summary. Any coaching institute, download the summary, mug it up. Are you clear on this? This is it. Beyond this, you only need 2 things. One is PYQs, that is previous year questions, which we'll cover in the class. The prelims we'll be covering right from day 1. Mains, I would need 2 or 3 more days. Once I teach a topic, and then I'll explain answer writing as a small session of say half an hour. I know you're experts in answer writing, but let me also tell you my pointers on answer writing. And then you can start practicing the mains questions also. Beyond that, we will also have a class test every day. Okay. So class test every day, and I'll give you a question to write and answer your answers every day. That will be required to be done, or else you will never study. Okay. And of course, if you get poor marks, I won't call your parents. Don't worry. But still, we'll have a class test once we cover a couple of topics from like maybe day 3 or day 4. We'll have a class test every day on the topics covered in the past. Okay. So we would have our mock tests also. these things for me to cover. And one thing that you need to do is what? Revision. So ideally, revise what has been taught today twice. One, today itself when you go back home, and if possible, before you come to the class in the morning. Right? Anyway, time is yours. You can decide, but at least twice before you sit for the next class, 2 revisions. That's the least you can do towards your journey to being an IAS officer. Right? So that's it. Haji, online student. Oh, we have a lot of doubts. So, sir, how can we get notes, sir? Can we get the copies of one day before the class, sir, so that online students? Yes. I had actually given the copy 3-4 days back. So don't worry. I'll get them uploaded 3-4 days prior to it. Okay. So you don't have to panic at all. Right? All things under control. Sir, please communicate with all. Yes. Harichandana. Yes. Hello, Harichandana. All okay. No, she wants us to communicate with her also. No problem. Okay, so this was a book list. Nothing beyond this is required. You have, second ARC reports, etc. Don't fall prey to the market notes. Online people also don't fall prey to market notes. You'll have hundreds of notes in different colors, different combinations, right? It does not really matter. The content is going to be the same. Stick to your notes, revise, and anything that you find new should be added in these notes only. Use sticky notes, insert A4 sheets, etc. Okay. Sometimes people also see these kind of questions. I'll show you an example, very good question. Read the question. This is a UPSC question. With reference to Gucci, sometimes mentioned in the news, consider the following statements. It is a fungus. It grows in some Himalayan forest areas. It's commercially cultivated. Some nonsense is mentioned. Forget it. This is an Instagram handle. The rarest and the yummiest Gucci mushrooms. The most expensive mushrooms and are only found in Himalayas. Right? See the question. It seems like they have framed the question from this. They are following this. Some paper setter was following this ardently and framed a question. So my point is, should you also make this as a part of your preparation? Instagram, notes from Instagram. I mean, I would not say yes or no. It's for you to decide, right? Whether you want to follow Instagram or not. But I would prefer avoiding it, right? Okay. Anything else that we have doubts over, online people? Information Commission. Okay. Any doubts, issues, concerns? No doubts?
So politically notes we have.
Notes.
Institution. Or we have to purchase.
That book
Politically.
they are given you. Show me the notes first, and then we'll discuss. We have to read from the original source or not. They're given the NCRT. Then read. Of course, if it is there, then don't purchase it. Why to purchase separately? My ego, I'll purchase my own book. No. It's the same thing. If NCRTs are available, then political theory is done. Right? What else is being given to you? It's also given. Oh. Which one from this? At work. Okay. So this means you have this book. You have this book. So please read this book from today onwards. Great. Money has been saved. You can use that to party and all. Do you have anyone from these? No. This is something you should ideally purchase. Or if not, then download the PDF free of cost. Whatever. But this is required. You have this also? Yes. Great. Resources are available now. This is what is going to happen. Trust me. I keep on telling people, see, don't go crazy. Right? Please follow the class notes only, PYQs only. But somehow aspirants will go crazy. Right? If I become IAS officer, I'll change the entire world. I'll kill all my enemies. You see some article in newspaper, you start daydreaming. If I was the IAS, etc. And then you find some Telegram channel. Top 50 questions for UPSC. You join immediately, download the questions, and never ever open it again. Don't. The idea is to just follow what is there. Right? Revision. The most boring part is the most interesting part, or the most important part also. Anyway. Before we begin our discussion, I'll just brush through some terms quickly so that we are all on board at the same level. Okay. So First up, the Constitution of India. So, when it comes to the Constitution of India, you'll have some, I just make you write what all aspects are there in the Constitution. So, the entire rule book is divided into various parts, right? You can write the heading Constitution and write parts. So, like you have your books which have parts, right? So, in the same way, the Indian Constitution also is divided into parts. Originally, there were just 22 parts. So, originally 22 and currently, meaning now, how many parts do we have? We have 25 parts. Some parts are important. Right now you might feel that all unique as information, but once you keep on studying, say part 1 deals with union, part 2 deals with citizenship, part 3 deals with fundamental rights, part 4 deals with DPSP, 4A deals with fundamental duties, so on and so forth. Various parts, various topics. Now, under those parts, you might have some chapters to categorize the parts beautifully. But these chapters are not always available. In some parts, you have no chapter. Some parts might have chapters. Chapters are not important. We will not focus on the chapters. Okay. But part number, some of them are important. Then come the articles. Inside those parts, you have these provisions, which are called articles. Articles are nothing but the provisions of the Constitution. Originally, we had 395 articles. Now we have around 470 articles. Why do we have so many articles now? We have added articles. Through what? Amendments. So originally 395, currently around 470. Okay. And one more thing. Article 1 to Article 395. Now, when you want to add a new article, what they do is they don't add it at the end. No. They add it somewhere in between. And they will give a letter. Like say, we have Article 20, we have Article 21, then we have Article 22, 23, so on and so forth. Now they also wanted to add one more article. So what they did was, they inserted an article between these two and called it 21 capital A. Are you clear? Therefore, the last number has remained the same. Clear? So they keep on inserting in between. And whenever you find any such provision with a capital letter attached, that's a new article. Always remember this. Are you clear? Okay. So last number will not change. And then under articles, you have clauses and sub-clauses. Like, when you write an answer, you write a point, you write sub-points under it. That's called a clause or a sub-clause. I'll show you how this looks like. See. This is part 5. Part 5 deals with union. Okay. And it has 5 chapters. Chapter 1 is the executive, the government. Okay. So, this is the part. This is a chapter. And another chapter you have various articles. Right. These are number coded. What are articles? Articles are the provisions in the Constitution. Achha, I will use this symbol to symbolize Constitution. For the class only, don't use this for your answers. For notes, you can use it, but not for answer writing. This is article what? 52. What does it? Don't write this article. What does it say? The President of India. There shall be a President of India. What is this article? 53. Now, Article 53 has 2 parts or called clauses. Article 53, Clause 1, Clause 2. That's how you read. When you read the articles, we'll say Article 53, Clause 1 is this. Clause 2 is this. Clear on this? This is just a nomenclature, how you refer to the Constitution. No problem so far? Okay. Now, beyond that, towards the end of your Constitution, you have something called schedules. So, please write firstly parts, 22, 25. Chapters, you can keep the column blank. Articles, 395, 470. Clauses, sub-clauses, keep it blank. So will every article have a clause? Yes or no? Not mandatory. Look at this only. This article has no clause. This article has how many clauses? 2 clauses. Some can have 5, 6 clauses also. Done? Last one, schedules. Please write. So what are schedules? You can write the definition there below it, but schedules originally 8, now 12. Originally 8, now 12. And below this, just write what is a schedule. We'll explain this later on. They are footnotes. They are footnotes added to the end of the constitution. They are footnotes added to the end of the constitution, providing fuller meaning. Fuller from the word full, complete. Fuller, F-U-L-L-E-R, fuller meaning to a provision of the constitution. Providing fuller meaning to a provision of the constitution. Okay, so right now it might be strange, what is this? But once we see a schedule, I'll explain, okay, this is how a schedule looks like and what is the meaning of it. Okay. One more thing, when you want to make a change in your constitution, the pattern of change is very simple. How do we refer it? So, amendments, you will refer to as in this pattern, number of times. Constitutional Amendment Act, CAA or AA, sometimes also referred to as like this, Amendment Act, no problem. And then you mention the year in which the modification was made. This is the format to refer to amendments. For example, the very first time an amendment was made was in the year 1951. Or we amended the constitution for the 42nd time in the year 1976. So this is how you refer to the amendment. Okay? Number of times and the year in which it was modified. Are you clear on this? Number of times, either Constitutional Amendment Act or AA. So in your exam answers also don't write the full form, just write A/A, done. Clear? Now 2 questions there. With one amendment, can we make multiple changes in the constitution or only one change? We can make multiple changes. Okay? With just one modification, 10 different articles can be changed in 10 different places. No problem. Okay, number 1. Number 2, can we make only one amendment per year or any number of amendments per year? Any number of amendments. Okay. So it is not limited to only one per year. You can make multiple modifications in one given year. Of course, it only makes sense because we have made 106 changes and we have been independent since 1950 for around 75 years only. So in 75 years, 106 changes. So with one amendment, multiple articles can be modified, and in 1 year, multiple amendments can be made. Clear on this point? Okay. This is how you represent these modifications. Now, the next is statute or a law. So firstly understand how are laws made. So the structure is this. You bring a bill in the house. Details later on, I'm just giving you a rough idea. Bill brought in the house. This bill is then passed by the house. All MPs would agree, etc. And then it is sent to the big boss, the president. Once the proposal is approved by our members and sent to the president will sign. We call it assent. Assent means his signature is required. Okay? So currently, if the president, she signs it, this bill becomes an act. Clear on this? Now these acts are not applicable on us. You can't apply them on us. Why? Because you have to inform people that we have made this kind of law. So this act needs to be published. So we call it notification. Notification means publication. Notification. Once the act is notified, then this act becomes what? A law. Okay? That's how a proposal becomes a law. Firstly an act, then a law. Now where will this be published? Like this coaching institute has a monthly magazine, right? Similarly, Government of India also has their weekly magazine, not monthly, weekly magazine. That weekly magazine is called the Gazette of India. This is the weekly magazine of the Indian government. It is published every week. Gazette of India. And this is published by Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. So Ministry of Housing publishes it. In the ministry there is one department called Department of Publications. It publishes this Gazette every week, a hard copy. We also have a soft copy, meaning a website called egazette.gov.in, where everything that the government does is available online. This is updated on a daily basis. What happened yesterday will all be updated today. Every step taken by the government, some contract that they gave to some builder for building a bridge, some law that they passed, some order that they issued, everything can be found on this website. You don't have to follow it, not required. Okay. Clear on this? Statute or a law? That's how laws are made. And the Constitution contains provisions which are called what? Articles. Laws contain provisions which are called sections. Please remember this. Don't be confused. So when somebody says section 3, section 4, they are not referring to the Constitution. And you also please don't say section 1 of Indian Constitution. No, it's article 1 of Indian Constitution. That's the correct way. So this is all about a statute, or as you know very well, a law. Statute is law, same thing. No doubt so far? All clear? Once you write, we'll move on. Should we proceed now? Okay. So this was the law, then the Constitution. Now, types of bodies. Next heading, please write types of bodies. So we have it mentioned there. Types. Okay, great. Types of bodies. So we have three types of bodies. One is a constitutional body. What is the meaning of this? See, any body which is mentioned in the constitution. Please write there. Give a dash and write. Bodies that are mentioned. Bodies that are mentioned in the constitution. Bodies that are mentioned in the constitution. Example, Election Commission. So every such body will have some article. Okay, like say Election Commission is Article 324. UPSC, Article 315. Finance Commission, Article 280. So you see, all these will have some article because they are mentioned where? In the Constitution. So one article for them. NCSE, the Commission for Scheduled Castes, it also has an article called 338. Then NCST, the Commission for Scheduled Tribes, it also has an article 338 capital A. Then for backward, NCBC, backward castes or classes? Classes, not caste, classes. And this is again 338 capital B. So do you observe A and B? This means what? They are amendments. They have been added later on, not originally available. So various examples of constitutional bodies. Bodies which are present in the Constitution. Okay. Next, statutory. Give a slash and write. Legal. Legal bodies. Statutory or legal means the same thing. What is a statutory body or a legal body? Which are not in the Constitution or made through the laws, made through Parliament. Okay, please write. Bodies which are established. Bodies which are established through an act of legislature. Act of legislature. What is the meaning of legislature? A body which makes laws is called legislature. Like you have the parliament or you have your state legislatures. Okay. So these bodies will not be mentioned in the Constitution. They have been made later on through some law. Okay. So a very simple way to find out is just type on Google some body's name and write act after it. You will find a law if it is a legal body. For example, Lokpal. So Lokpal is a statutory body made through a law called the Lokpal and Lokayukt Act. This was made in 2013. You don't have to write all these examples, just a few of them. CVC, the CVC Act of 2003. This is called the Central Vigilance Commission. We'll be covering this under your governance classes. Central Vigilance Commission. This is the body which will send the CBI after people like you, the senior IAS officers. If you become corrupt. If you're not corrupt, then no problem. Right? Then CIC is a body formed under the law called RTI Act, Right to Information Act 2005. Then NHRC, somebody had mentioned earlier also, NHRC. This is a statutory body formed in 1993 through a law called TPHRA, the Protection of Human Rights Act. Law name is not important. NCW, Commission for Women, established in 1992. NCM, Commission for Minorities, right? So these are all bodies which are formed through various laws, hence called statutory or legal bodies. Clear? And lastly, we have what kind of bodies? Executive. What is meant by executive bodies? Who is an executive? Government. So executive bodies are bodies created by the government through an order. There is no bill required. I'll dictate, don't worry. There is no bill required. Nothing. The government in its office will create a body. Body is formed. Please write. Bodies created through a government order. Through a government order or notification. Bodies created through a government order or notification. Clear? Examples, a very good example is Niti Aayog. There is no law for Niti Aayog. It was established in 2015. Or the very transparent and independent CBI, the Central Bureau of Investigation, right? Very fair body, never misused. CBI was formed in 1963. Or ministries, they're all executive in nature. So we have so many ministries, right? But the government can tomorrow abolish all these ministries or can create a new ministry with an order. No need at all to pass a law for ministries. Clear? The three different types of bodies. Should we proceed now? All done? Okay. There's a question asked in UPSC in 2023. It might be too early for you to answer, but still let's go through it. Try to solve it. Let me know the answer. I mean, today only, answer. Okay, yes. Online people, now you respond. Thawarchand Gehlot? What's the answer? Please take a guess or something. Only one. Only two. Only three. Anyone? All four? No. Okay. Which of the consider the following organizations or bodies in India? How many of the above are constitutional body? NCBC? Okay. Chalo, one, great. NHRC? No. This is a statutory body. Law Commission? Any idea? Law Commission is an executive body. These bodies are formed by government at regular intervals. So they are executive bodies, sadly. Okay. And the National Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission. What do you think of this? I mean, consumer disputes would ideally not be a part of the constitution. Right? It makes no sense. So yes, in 1986, a law was made called the Consumer Disputes Act, and under which this Consumer Rights Act, under which this body was formed in 1988. So this is a statutory body. Okay. So this was formed in 1988 as a statutory body. This is also wrong. So how many of the above are constitutional? Only one A. Not that challenging because it's your first class. You would not have heard of these two bodies. Slowly and steadily you will know. It's easy to mark them. Okay. Now three organs of the state. We know very well the first organ, the beautiful building. Classic example of investment of taxpayers' money. So legislature. What's the task of legislature? Task is to make laws. Simple and sweet. Legislature number one, make laws. Ramya, only one. Harichandana, only one. Okay, great. Alakya Patel, great. Supraj Kashyap, all correct. Very good. Task is to make laws. Yes. And we know very well that our MPs who make laws are innocent people. They make laws, you don't understand those laws. So we have what? Judiciary. The second organ to help them interpret laws, help us understand laws. So task of judiciary is to interpret laws. Plus, of course, provide justice. provide justice to the rich, to everyone, not to rich only, to everyone. Clear? This is a Supreme Court building. Done? So the two organs, and then we have the third organ, which is the executive. And before that, solve this question, came in 2015. Who or which of the following is the custodian? Custodian meaning caretaker. What's the answer? President, PM, Lok Sabha, Supreme Court. Supreme Court of India is the answer. So where you have written this Supreme Court's judiciary, please below it make a star mark and also write. The Supreme Court is the custodian and guardian. The Supreme Court is the custodian and guardian of the Constitution. Custodian and guardian of the Constitution. So see, these are the questions that they ask you sometimes. Easy questions, 2 marks in your account, closer to your prelims cutoff. So yes, the third organ, back to third organ, that is the executive. What's the task of executive? Don't write anything. So right now, for a small kid, it is a very good statement to make, implementing laws. But you are not kids anymore. You are legends, right? So you have crossed the noob level now. So you won't say implement laws, because executive's task in a parliamentary form is quite wide. Who makes policies in the country? Executive meaning government, right? Who makes policies? Government. Who decides foreign policy? Government. Who maintains law and order? Police, armed forces, CRPF? Government. Who decides on economic policy, social policy? Government. Who brings bills? It's the ministers actually. All the bills which have been passed in the last 55 years, they were all brought by ministers. Ministers bring bills also. Who implements those bills? Ministers, the government. So government's task is not merely implement. In our country, the government performs way more tasks beyond all these things also. Okay? So executive's task is very wide. Please write executive and start writing there. First point, initiating proposals for, okay, so this was a union executive. Let's now write the legislature also. Union legislature. So legislatures at the union level, you have House of People, Lok Sabha, Council of States, the Rajya Sabha. Okay, so Union, House of People is the actual official name for Lok Sabha that's mentioned in the Constitution, right? And Council of States for Rajya Sabha, though you can use Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, there is no such problem. Same goes for states, Assembly and Council, Vidhan Sabha or Vidhan Parishad. Done? And just these terms so that once we discuss, you would know what these terms mean. And members of these houses are called MPs. Members here are called MLAs. And members here are called MLCs. MP, Member of Parliament, because at the union level, the body is called the Parliament. At the state level, all okay? No, it's okay. If you're feeling hot and all, no problem. This makes too much of noise, but legislature, or we call this as state legislature. Okay. It seems it has been opened for the first time for swing. Huh? Okay. Assembly, councils, all clear, no issues? Okay. Should we proceed now? That's it. This was it. So we have three-tier structure. There's no need to write this. Just mention this to you. A three-tier structure refers to what? Union, states and local self-government, where you have municipalities as well as the panchayats. Okay, we'll discuss this later on in detail. And then the judiciary lastly. You can just mention there judiciary as a last. If you have some space, just mention judiciary. Okay, so judiciary, subordinate courts, high court, supreme court. Now please understand two very important things. We have this entire structure by way of appeal. You can appeal against a judgment from the lower court in the high court, from high court in the supreme court. Yes. So if you can appeal, such a system of judiciary is called an integrated judiciary. It is integrated as well as independent. A bit too independent, but okay, no problem. Integrated and independent judiciary in the country. Integrated because decisions of lower courts can be challenged in the higher courts. Okay. And there is one more concept called judicial review. Have you heard of this term called judicial review? We might encounter this term a lot, so I would like you to write something about it, just one line. What is meant by judicial review? Reviewing their own judgments. That's it? Something else?
Review the laws are followed.
Review whether laws are followed or not. Okay. Anything else? Some implementation of laws. Okay, fair enough. So collectively, I'll say judicial review simply means that the judiciary will review or check whether the legislature's actions, executive's actions are well within the framework of the constitution or not. Simple. So if you make a law, it must be constitutionally valid. But they can review it, they can check for it. Please write. Judicial review. It means that judiciary, yes, Supraj, reviewing the laws made by parliament. It means that judiciary can review the constitutional validity. Judiciary can review the constitutional validity of executive and legislative actions. Constitutional validity of executive and legislative actions. This is a concept borrowed from USA. This is a very old case of Madison versus Marbury. So this was a case from where in USA they had the concept and in our country we have incorporated this concept, though the word judicial review is not mentioned anywhere in the Indian Constitution. Okay, the phrase is not mentioned, but Supreme Court says it has the power of judicial review. It has given this power to itself on its own. Okay, but the phrase is not mentioned. Are you clear? This was a US Supreme Court case which created the idea that judiciary should be allowed to check the action of the government and the parliament to ensure that they are all constitutionally valid. They should not violate the constitution. Clear on this? Anyway, so in the country as well, judiciary is, that is why we say judiciary has become very supreme, because whatever laws you make, the judiciary can always check for those laws, because they might say, no, this law does not follow the constitutional principles and hence we have to cancel the law. They can do this. This is the idea of judicial review. Clear? Okay. That's it for our basic aspects. Before we move on further, we have not really studied any article which is important, but I would like you to still refer to two articles from the Constitution, Article 246 and Article 248, along with one schedule, that is Schedule what? 7. What is Schedule 7? Lists. Okay. Important cases, not really. We have just covered one, Ram Javaya Kapoor, 1955. Done. So after every topic, I'll tell you that the important cases plus the important articles that you need to follow. Important cases does not mean you go and start reading who filed a case, how much was the court fees, not all this, right? You simply have to do what? Just go through the points I mentioned in the class. That's it. So one statement of Supreme Court. What is that? That all functions in the country except legislative and judiciary are all executive functions. That's it. And these two articles, please read the articles on your own from the Bare Act, either downloaded or the purchased one, whatever you wish to. In case you find any difficulty, please contact me, of course, after the class, no problem. With words and stuff, it might be challenging initially, but we slowly get there. Done? Okay. Now let's begin our discussion on topics. So, now we'll follow a slightly different pattern of studying, which I feel over the years has made it easy for me to explain and for aspirants to understand. So what we'll do is we'll be covering firstly the union executive, okay? Then we'll cover the union legislature, that is the parliament. Then we'll cover state executive and state legislature. These two organs are done, and we'll then follow it up with local self-governance, that is panchayats, municipalities. So the three-tier structure is covered. Once we cover this, then we'll move on to judiciary. That would almost be around 55-60% of your classes. Half the classes will be devoted to all these things. Once we are done with this, slightly more than half the classes, you have covered almost 70-80% of what is required for the exam, right? And also you have covered all three organs. Then we'll move on to understanding elections, and then all these miscellaneous provisions, that part 1, citizenship, scheduled areas, article 370, emergency provisions, etc. Finally, we'll discuss the center-state relations. This will cover your administrative part of the syllabus. Once we are done, we'll then move on to understanding fundamental rights, then DPSPs, then fundamental duties, official languages, and lastly, we'll cover this topic called preamble. This is going to be a pattern of studying over the course of next 3 weeks. Are we clear? Okay. So we'll start with the union executive. In this way, I have felt that we have to assume less. If we start from preamble and part 1, part 2, we'll have to assume a lot more. Assume this, assume that, and eventually it's all assumption only. So this helps us assume less, and we keep on covering those topics so that once you reach rights and all, you know everything. Once you cross judiciary itself at this level, you know almost everything of how the things function. So the smaller topics are very easy to cover, right? And also the rights and all. So of these, of course, some time will be required in the union executive, some time in the parliament, some time for legislature, some time for judiciary, and then some slightly more time for rights. Others are all smaller topics to cover. Okay. So should we begin now? So first up is our Union Executive, which is under Part 5. Part 5 is what? Union. Part 5 refers to the Union, under which you have first chapter, which is Union Executive. Articles are 52 to 78. Not all articles are important. I will tell you which articles are important. But before we discuss these topics, a small topic needs to be covered, which is not again something from where UPSC has been asking questions a lot recently, but around 20 years back, they were obsessed with this topic. I think for 5 years, they asked a question from this continuously. This is called the order of precedence. So what does this mean? See, let's say you go for a marriage function with you, your father or mother, and maybe your grandfather, grandmother. Okay. Now there are 3 people and there are 2 chairs to sit. Who will sit? Your grandfather and your father. Not you, of course. Yes or no? Okay. What if there is only 1 chair to sit? Grandfather. What if in your family the real authority is exercised by your father? Then who will sit? Grandfather only. Yes or no? Out of respect. It's not about the real power, it's about respect. Similarly, let's say you clear the exam and you go to Labasna, you have your training session going on and you have to give a speech there. Don't imagine, just small example. Lost in thoughts, okay, Labasna, what will I wear, etc. So in the speech, you start your speech, you have the president sitting in front of you, the college dean, other people are there. How do you start addressing the crowd? Of course, you firstly address the president, then the next dignitary. You don't start saying, hello friends, hi president, hello CM. No. There's an order to address people. This is what is called the order of precedence. It is not some list of power. No, it's a list of official hierarchy. For ceremonial functions, this is what is called the official hierarchy list. Ceremonial protocol list. So this is nothing but a hierarchy of officials of the country or the dignitaries of the country. This list is published by the president, but it is maintained by Home Ministry. So MHA, the Ministry of Home Affairs, is the one which controls this list. Clear? Order of precedence. It is not mentioned in the constitution, of course. There is always a confusion between MPP and ZPTC in protocol precedence. Please share, Alakya Patel, what has been the experience. Done? So let's, who is the senior most, what do you think? Of course, the senior most person is the President of India, then the Vice President, then the Prime Minister. Beyond them, we have governors. These are all governors in various states, right? So, governors in the state are ranked 4th. So you have this entire order mentioned there, don't worry. Okay. Followed by, at number 5, we have former presidents. So the 11th president, Dr. Kalam, right? So the former presidents are in rank 5 of the list. Then if the country has any, say, deputy prime minister, then 6th rank goes to deputy prime minister. Like this is L.K. Advani, back in 1999-2004 government, he was a deputy prime minister. So we don't always have a deputy PM, but if you have a deputy prime minister, then that person becomes what? Rank 6 in the order. Are we clear? Then at rank 7, we have 2 people sharing the spot. CJI, this is Sanjeev Khanna, the current Chief Justice of India. And then we have the Speaker of Lok Sabha. This fellow is Om Birla. He is an MP from Kota and the Speaker of Lok Sabha, the presiding officer of the House of People. Are you clear? And then the list follows with other people also. So, okay. Whom to call first in is a confusion. Fair. So this is the entire order. At the top, President, VP, PM, Governors, former Presidents, Deputy PM, CGI, then you have Cabinet Ministers. So please observe at rank number 10, where is it? 10. Governors outside their state and governor within their state. I hope you understand the difference. For example, let's say, who is the governor of your state? So let's say VISHNU Verma, he is attending some function in Telangana. Then he is at rank 4. But if he goes to say Andhra Pradesh and is attending a function there, he becomes rank 10 because he is now outside the state. Are you clear on this point now? Okay. Then you have judges of Supreme Court, you have chairman of UPSC, etc. You also have some IAS officer here, the cabinet secretary. He or she is the senior most IAS officer in the country. Cabinet secretary. That should be the dream of every civil servant. If you don't have a dream, I am giving you a dream. Okay, that please strive to be the cabinet secretary, though it is not in your control, of course. How can this be in your control? A lot of factors are responsible for it. Your entry in the job, it should be at an early age. Then right postings, right promotions, impeccable track record, closeness to the ruling party in power. All these things are there, right? So how can you align all these things perfectly well? But yes, if it happens, then you become the senior most IAS officer of the country, and that post is called the cabinet secretary. And they're also on this order of rank, what? 14. Okay. Otherwise, if you can get Bhatran, that will be great. You become directly rank 9. And if you can contest elections and win, then you can directly become the Prime Minister also. That's also possible. And otherwise, a lot of IAS officers have ended up becoming governors also. So, rank 4 is there within your reach. Okay, enough motivation. Let's now move on. That was the topic. Just solve this question quickly. Old question. A lot of you are not even born, but still. One small doubt, sir. District collector, MLA. No, you'll have to download the entire list and find out where they are mentioned. It's a long list. I don't really recollect, but as per Indian protocol, who among the following ranks highest? Deputy PM, what rank? 6. Okay. Former presidents? 5. Governor? 4. And speaker? 7th. Shared with who? Chief Justice of India. So right answer is C. Very good. Okay. Now let's move to our discussion. Union Executive. Union Executive is what? 5 categories are covered. You had mentioned this earlier. Yes or no? The President, the Vice President, the PM, the entire Council of Ministers. It's an old photograph, of course, because some of them might not be ministers, some of them have died and all. Don't say, sorry, he has died. How did you put his photograph there? Old photo. And we have the 5th one, who is the what? Attorney General of India. Just check your previous notes. You had this mentioned there, the 5 categories. It must be there somewhere. Don't worry. Clear? So we'll start studying from the very first topic, that is the Indian President, the Mahamahim of the country, the senior most post, Article 52. And look at this article. It says there shall be a President of India. So is it an optional post? No, it is mandatory. They say shall. Shall means mandatory. So whenever you have the word shall, it means mandatory. If you have to make it optional, they will mention the word may. Okay? So there is no alternative. Should we have a president this time? Not really. No. We have to. Mandatory. Okay. Now, Indian president is referred to as a nominal head. Indian president is also referred to as De jure. It's a Latin term. De jure simply means by law. So legally, who is the senior most person? The president. And he or she is also the head of the what? State. State means the country. We refer to the president with all these terms: head of state, de jure, nominal head, whatever. You can just write these terms somewhere at the top.
So what is the
By law. It means by law, meaning legally. Legally, de jure head, meaning the top head of the country is the president. So, de jure head. So, who is the head of the country? President. May not be in practice, but in reality. Are you clear? In real, or may not be in practice, but in law, the head. Maybe in practice, the PM is the real boss because they have all the powers. That is there. That's in practice. That's called de facto. De facto is through practice. We'll discuss that later on. But the real head is a PM. We know it. But the nominal head, for namesake, by law, is the president. That is also seen through the order of precedence. Number 1, right? They don't have real powers in the country, but still they are at number 1. Respect and decency. Now, let's begin our understanding of election of the president. So, election of the president is governed through certain laws. So, we have the provisions of Article 54, 55, 58, 62 and 71. Then there is a law called Presidential and the VP Election Act, which mentions the procedure. And we have rules also. So, what's the difference between act and rules? Any idea? Same thing. Act is amended.
rules can be made by any organizations also, but acts are only through the rule is made by executives. Act is made legislation.
Oh.
Implementing the act.
Fair enough. See, the idea is acts are made by legislature. Rules are made by executive. Rules are made to implement the acts properly. Simple. So, rules are made by executive. An act, we know, is made by legislature. So, why do we need rules if a law has been made? Because sometimes the implementation part is what is important. Okay. A very simple example would be, you have this very famous Motor Vehicles Act 1988. So, there is a law in which you have some section, say section 3, which says that you have to take a driver's license to take a two-wheeler, four-wheeler outside on the road. You need to have a driver's license to drive a car or a bike. Yes, that's what is mentioned in the law. Now, who will issue a driver's license? What should the criteria be? That's not mentioned in the law. That's through rules. Otherwise, if they mention you have to have a driver's license, you will make your own driver's license signed by yourself and say, see, this is my driver's license. Law says driver's license. I have a driver's license. Who gave you this? My father gave it to me. No, that's not how it should be done. So, when you make a law, you have to also implement it properly. To implement the law properly, the executive whose task is to implement, they might face some challenges, issues. So, that's how they make rules, to implement laws properly. Are you clear? Okay. Now comes the aspect of voting. So, do we vote in the election of the president? How many of you have voted for the election of the president? No? No one? Why? Because he can't vote. As simple as that. So, this is the electoral college for the president's election. Electors. Elector means voter. Okay? Elector simply means voter. What is electoral college? College means group of people. Electoral college means group of voters. So, group of voters is called an electoral college. So, who votes in the election of the president? So, this is Article 54 for you. Very simple. All elected MPs and all elected MLAs of states. Are we clear on this? Elected MPs, elected MLAs of states. Now these states also include, below this, right, also include UTs of Delhi and Puducherry. Okay. So Delhi and Puducherry also has elected MLAs. They will also take part in the voting. Clear on this? Elected MLAs, elected MPs will take part in the voting. Like you see, elected MLA from Pulivendula, which place? Okay. Then elected MP, right? Of course. Elected MP, elected MLA, right? Which constituency is from Kakinada, someplace, right? It's in Kakinada. What, Kakinada? Godavari district. But it's in Kakinada constituency, right? The parliamentary. Achha, possible. Right. So nowadays quite popular now because of his stand, quite close to Modi ji also. Does he have some name here? Mas Maharaja. Achha, he's Power Star. Oh, and then what is Ravi Teja? He is Mas Maharaja. Okay. Power Star. Okay. So Power Star, Pawan Kalyan. Great. So all these are elected people. MPs, MLAs, all covered. Clear? Okay. So who cannot vote? Of course, the nominated legislators. Those who are nominated. Like there are some people in the Rajya Sabha who are nominated. Okay. So like this person, he is Justice Ranjan Gogoi. He was a former CJI, or PT Usha, right? Or the CM of Bihar. Now, CM of Bihar, interestingly, is not an MLA. He is an MLC, member of the council. If you observe, we have mentioned here all elected MLAs, not MLCs. Like your state also has MLCs. Yes. They won't take part in the voting. Only MLAs will take part in the voting. Are you clear? So, who will not take part? Nominated legislators and the MLCs. They will not take part in the voting process. Clear? Okay. Now, how is the president elected? Of course, election is indirect. Why indirect? Because we vote for these MPs, MLAs. They vote in turn for the president. So, indirect, not direct. And then this is also mentioned under Article 55. What is the system followed? System of proportional representation. Underline this phrase. Proportional representation by means of single transferable vote. Underline this phrase also. We'll discuss these two phrases shortly. Supraj, sir, it includes J&K MLAs also? No, Supraj, it does not include J&K MLAs right now. Once J&K MLAs, they have been elected. Now, so our question here is, if you are saying that includes MLAs of Delhi and Pondicherry because they have assemblies, then why not J&K? Because J&K also has assembly now. So, if you want to include J&K, we'll have to amend Article 54 and add J&K also. Are you clear? So, right now they are not covered. In future, that is next election that will take place when? In 2027, then we will, before that, we can also amend this article and add J&K as well here. Right now, it is not included. Are you clear? Okay. So, system of proportional representation by means of ST. We will discuss both these terms later on. Now, voting is by a secret ballot. What is meant by secret ballot? That means you don't have to show your vote to anybody else. Okay. Otherwise, if voting is done through open ballot, then others get to know who you are voting for. And then cross voting is not possible. What is cross voting? Cross voting simply means you belong to a party and you vote for somebody else's candidate. That is called cross voting. So here cross voting is allowed because voting is by a secret ballot. You can vote for any person you want. Are you clear? If the party has tried to support somebody, you vote for somebody else, it's all okay. That is why we say in this case, there is no whip. What is meant by whip? What is whip? Mandatory presence, only presence or something? See, you'll be surprised to know that when you go to the parliament to vote on any bill proposal, the party can instruct you to vote in a particular direction. The party can tell you, you have to vote yes. And you will have to vote for yes only, whether you like it or not. It does not matter. And if you vote for no, the party can complain against you and you can be disqualified also. So much so for independence of our MPs. So like a robot, they have to go and say, okay, party boss has said, press the green button, go home. That's it. That's called a whip. Whip is an instruction given by your party to vote in a particular direction. Are you clear? We'll discuss this in detail when you study anti-defection law. But right now, please understand that it's a very clear concept. You have to always vote in favor of what? In favor of your party direction. So whip simply means party directive. Okay. No whip. So party cannot issue you any kind of order to vote. You are free to vote. And that's why we say it is more like a conscience vote. You vote for the candidate you like. Conscience, written as conscience, pronounced as conscience. Conscience vote. Also, in other elections, the voting takes place through EVM. Yes? Have you seen an EVM ever in your life? Maybe in photos. So here, there is no EVM. It's all ballot paper. So in the election of the president, we don't use EVMs, electronic voting machines are not used. We use the old system of ballot boxes and ballot paper. You have a voting paper, you mark your preference and put it inside the ballot box. No buttons and all. Are you clear? And also there is no concept of nota. What is nota? None of the above. Nota simply means you are rejecting all the candidates. Everybody is useless. None of the above. That's called nota. None of the above. So here it is not possible. If you reject all candidates, then your vote is cancelled. You have to pick and choose one. It is mandatory. Are you clear? So no, nota also. Achha, who conducts the elections? Yes. Conducted by ECI, Election Commission of India. And of course, you also have the idea of somebody who will actually manage this election. That person is called a returning officer. You know, in every constituency, when elections take place for Lok Sabha, Vidhan Sabha, you have a person who is appointed and he is called a returning officer. So if it's the Lok Sabha election, then you have the DM as the returning officer. If it's a Vidhan Sabha election, you have the SDM as a returning officer. So in your constituency, you are given the task to do what? To conduct elections. So why are they called returning officer? What are they returning? So we say that they are returning to the people a winner, and hence the term returning officer. You return to people a winner. That's why the term returning officer is used. We'll discuss this also when we study RPA. So right now, you are finding all these things difficult. Once you clear the exam, you will have to conduct elections in your constituency on your own. Okay? And right now, these things are difficult. Imagine the jump, and there is no training and all for that. If elections happen, conduct it. Simple. Of course, you will have all the junior staff to help you out and all. That's not that challenging and difficult, but yes. So you are a returning officer for your own constituency. Are we clear on this? So here, who is the returning officer? So here it is the Secretary General. in both the houses, you have one person called Secretary General. Alternatively, they keep on conducting the elections, meaning counting of votes, etc. All these things are being done by Secretary General of the Rajya Sabha or the Lok Sabha. So in 2022, it was a Rajya Sabha SG. Next time it will be who? Lok Sabha SG. So far, are we clear on this? Any doubt? No doubt? Okay. Done? So this is the structure of conducting elections. Now comes a pretty interesting concept, that is the concept of vote value. See, understand this point. When it comes to the electoral college, it comprises of two kinds of people, yes or no? MP and MLA. Are they both the same?
No.
Of course not. If I tell you, if I ask you a question, who commands a bigger constituency size, MP or MLA? MPs or MLAs? MPs? Are you sure? I mean, a very good example would be to think of your state only. Think of, say, Telangana. How many of you from Telangana? Raise your hand. Andhra? Oh, now it's almost equal. Okay, great, no problem. So let's take Telangana for example, as a mark of respect for them since we are in their state, no problem. So in Telangana, how many MLAs are there in your state? 119? Okay. And how many MPs are there in your state? 17? Okay. This means what? Your entire state was divided into 119 small parts called constituencies. From each small part, one MLA was chosen, right? So the entire state being divided into 119 small parts. So this is an area from we are choosing one MLA. Yes. Now the same state is being divided into how many parts? Only 17 parts. This means now that the division would be somewhat like this, right? So maybe this is the entire area from where one MP is being elected. Yes or no? So who is commanding a bigger area? MP. Who has more voters behind him? MP. MP is representing a larger population. Yes or no? Are we clear on this? So in elections in general, we have a simple concept. And what is that? One person, one vote, one value. Yes? Because when you go to elections of Lok Sabha, etc., you are representing yourself. That's it. But when the MP goes and casts vote in the election of the president, he or she is representing this entire population. Yes or no? And the MLA represents this entire population. Yes. Who represents a larger population? MP. So do you think it is fair to have same value of vote of MP and MLA? It is not fair. MP is representing a larger population, so the vote value of MP should be more than that of MLA. Would you agree on this point? It's only fair, yes or no? So you can write this point. That vote value of MP should be more than vote value of MLA. I hope this point is clear. And that is the reason why we have to have a different vote value. Meaning, if an MP casts a vote in your favor, you will get more votes. If an MLA casts vote in your favor, you will get less votes. But how many votes exactly? Or how many points exactly? We need to have some formula for that, for easy calculation, so that it becomes standard across the country. So this formula was given by N.G. Iyengar. And what is a formula? So vote value of one MLA. You take the state population, whatever is the population of your state, and then you divide the population with the number of elective seats, because you want number of elected MLAs. Clear? Now the population of states runs in crores. It's a very big number. Let's make it smaller by dividing it by 1000. So multiply by 1 by 1000. This figure that you get will be the vote value of one MLA of your state. Are you clear? Now comes a very simple question. Population, state population. When? Yesterday, 10 days back, or today, or 10 years back. Which population should we take? Some census? Maybe 2011 census, right? But that's not the case here. We are taking this population of 1971 census. 1971 census. Clear? But the question is why? Why not 1991 or 2011? We do have the latest census with us, yes or no? We do have the 2011 census, which is like 40 years ahead of 1971 census. Why are we still stuck at 1971 census? Frozen. See, in 1976, we'll come to that point. Let me first show you this calculation also. So for Telangana, so number of, this is not required to be marked up, don't worry. Number of assembly seats 119, population of not UP, of Telangana was this. Okay. So what do we do? Population upon, check the formula, number of seats into 1 by 1000. Don't worry, this is not CSAT. You won't have to calculate anything, right? So we get the answer, which is 132. This is what is called the vote value of one MLA of which state? Telangana. This means if a Telangana MLA casts a vote for some candidate, how many votes will that fellow get? 132. Are you clear? Let's look at the table now, which has all the vote values. It's there. Look at the table. So you see Andhra Pradesh, vote value of MLA is how much? The first one.
175.
175? Can you, sorry, 159? 175 is the number of MLAs. Can you see Arunachal, second one? How much is that?
8.
Only 8? This is the vote value. Value of vote of each MLA. Look in your chart, 8. Let's come to say Sikkim. Sikkim is 20, 22, 23 somewhere.
7.
Only 7, right? Why is this only 7? Population, look at the population of Sikkim. 2 lakhs. Of course. Let's go to UP now. Can you see the number? 208. This means an MLA of UP, if he casts a vote, how many votes are cast? 208 votes. All the 32 MLAs of Sikkim collectively have the same vote as one MLA of UP. Yes or no? So if I have to win the election, is it easy for me to convince 32 MLAs to vote for me or one from UP? One from UP. So this vote value depends on population. Would you agree on that? So a more populated state has an advantage, more vote value, right? In 1976, it was found that we had to control this population, because what was happening slowly and steadily was that the northern states, the states in the north, they had been increasing their population, not deliberately, but no population control was happening. Okay. These states had shown no interest in population control, whereas states in the south, their state governments were educating the people on having less children. But in the north, people felt More children meaning more hands to work. They forgot that it's also more mouths to feed, but more children, right? So the population of northern states kept on increasing. Southern states did not increase, it stabilized. So if you keep on taking the new census, don't think it is of disadvantage to the southern states, because their population will not increase, the northern state population will increase, so the vote value of UP MLA will keep on increasing compared to say a Telangana MLA or maybe a Tamil Nadu MLA. Yes, which gives them advantage and maybe like punishes the southern states, punishing them for something that is good. They took a nice step of telling the people not to have more kids, and now it is acting like a punishment for them. Who told you to tell them nice things? You should have told them have more kids, more vote value. But country's resources are limited, right? We have to tell people not to have so many kids, 3, 4, 5, 10, right? We do not have the resources to support such a population. Yes or no? So because of this reason, it was said that we will freeze the use of this population data for 25 years, with the hope that in the next 25 years, these northern states will have stabilized their population, and then we can use the new data. Are we clear? So in 1970s, use of 1971 census. So through the 42nd Amendment Act 1976, frozen for 25 years. Are we clear on this point? So 1976, it was frozen for how many years? 25. So then when do we check it again? 2001. Add 25 to 76. You can use a calculator, add it in your home, no problem. 2001. Now in comes 2001. Again we check. Have the northern states stabilized their population? Not really. The total fertility rate, TFR. What is this TFR? How many kids will a woman have in her reproductive period? Meaning how many kids will a couple have in their lifetime? So ideally it should be 2.1. We can't have 0.1 kid, of course. It's called the replacement rate. Some kids might die, etc. So replacement rate. 2 parents, right? 2 kids. But some of these states had more than 3, 3.2, 3.5, 4. Every parent will have 4 kids. The population doubles. It's a huge burden on the resources. So northern states still were not controlling their population. So again the government said that we have to freeze it for how many years? Again 25 years. So with the 84th Amendment Act, it was again frozen for 25 years. So now next revision is to be done when? Next year only, 2026. That is why all the debate is going on. Okay. And so imagine if we use the latest data, the population difference is huge between say a state like Bihar and Tamil Nadu. It has become huge. Of course, compared to the size of states like Bihar, West Bengal, they are smaller in size compared to some large states. But the population is very large because no check, no family planning norms. And this reason, what was the reason? Reason was to boost family planning. Some leaders of these states had 10-15 kids. the CM, the former CM of Bihar, Lalu Prasad Yadav, 11 kids. And when you asked them, sir, he said, I was in the opposition, I had to oppose everything. So government said, less kids. I said, no, more kids. So they joke about all these things. 11 kids. Right? Maybe rich can afford it. Who knows? Like Elon Musk, he's going crazy. Right? He wants to have more and more kids across the globe, build an army of crazy people like him in future. But a poor person cannot. And most people in this country have limited resources. Imagine having 4 or 5 kids. How will you feed all the kids? They won't all get jobs. You won't have resources to teach them, send them to a good school. Simple. These smaller countries or countries with a lesser population, the only advantage they have is less population. Resources are limited everywhere. But we have huge population, limited resources. That's why the competition and pressure. Imagine we had lesser students for UPSC because of less population, less competition for you. Don't kill anyone, it's okay. But that's the idea. I hope now you are of this full understanding why we use 1971 census. Clear on this? Right? Do you think it's fair? Or unfair? Unfair for northern states. What is your opinion? It is fair? And what about the northern states who have so many people now? It is not adequate representation for them. That's also a challenge, right? If they are having more kids, is it their fault? Of course, it's their doing, but not their fault, right? The government did not educate them. How is it their fault? It's also the fault of the government, right? You are punishing the people for the fault or the inability of the government to teach them. That's also something that you have to consider. Maybe a middle ground is to be found somewhere. We'll discuss this point later on when it makes more sense. But I hope this point is clear. So look at the table again now. You find out the vote value of MLA of Andhra Pradesh. 1 MLA of Andhra Pradesh is how much? 159. How do you find the total vote value of all MLAs of Andhra Pradesh? Into 175. Yes or no? Number of MLAs into vote value of 1 MLA. So you have the number given. Right? 27,825. Similarly, you find vote value of 1 MLA of Arunachal, all MLAs of Arunachal. You multiply this with this. Clear? So you find the vote value of all the MLAs of all the states together. Which is what? 5,43,231. When you find the vote value of all the MLAs together, you divide this with number of elected MPs. That's when you get the vote value of MP. Clear? Right here now. The vote value of 1 MP. Total vote value of all MLAs together upon number of elective MP seats. This is a formula. Now here there is no 100,000 etc. That has been done. Is this formula clear to everyone? Total vote value of all MLAs upon number of elective MP seats. Have you mentioned this point also on one side? Yes? Okay. So should we see this now? See. So this, what is this number? 543,231. Total number of vote value of all the MLAs of all the states. And you divide by number of elective MP seats. So we have 543 MPs of Lok Sabha and we have 245 MPs in the Rajya Sabha, out of which 233 are elected and 12 people are nominated. So we know very well that nominated MPs don't take part in the election process, yes or no?
Yes.
Only all elected MPs, so they are not counted. So only 233 are counted. These two, add them, 776, divide this, you get the number 700. This is fixed. Whether you are an MP for Lok Sabha or MP for Rajya Sabha, the vote value of MP is 700. Just below the formula, write this. Vote value 700. Okay. Just this formula 700, a number, that's it. Nothing else is required. This calculation and all not required. This is for your CSET faculty to suffer. Why should I? They'll explain and then teach you how to add, subtract, multiply, etc. The formula is important. Are we clear on this? Any doubt? So, if I ask you a question that the vote value of MLAs varies from one state to another, is that a fair assessment to make? Yes? Depending on population, of course. And the vote value of MPs is same across the country, yes or no? Or is it different? MP of Telangana has higher vote value than MP of say Delhi? No? Of course not. The number is fixed. At how much? 700. That's a fixed value. So now you can see that even the best of states, and think of states like Sikkim, 7 is the vote value of one MLA of Sikkim. And what's the vote value of MP of Sikkim, same state? 700. 100 times. Of course, MPs are more important. They command a larger area. They represent a bigger population. Their vote value is more. Clear? Okay, so this is the idea of the formula for vote value. Should we proceed now? Okay. Solve this question first. Yes, online people, solve the question. Give me the answer. And don't Google or chat GPT the answer. Can I have the answer today only, if possible? You have to go home also? Okay. In the Electoral College for the presidential election in India, the value of vote of an elected member of assembly equals state population, yes, upon number of elected MLAs, yes, into how much? 1000. This is wrong. One is wrong. Remove these two. So it's either 2 or 3. Let's check 2. The value of vote of an elected member of parliament equals total value of the votes of all elected MLAs upon number of elected MPs. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
This is a correct formula. 2 is correct. So B is the answer. This means 3 is wrong. There were more than 5,000 members in the latest elections. Of course not. Just you can check this also. How many members were there? So all the MLAs were members of elections. That is how much? 4033. So all the MLAs 4033 plus all the MPs 776. 776. This would be less than 5,000. Yes. At that point of time, Jammu and Kashmir was also there. Add for them also 117. Still it is less. Are you clear? So it was less than 5,000. That is actually correct. We don't need to know this number because we could simply eliminate the third statement. Yes or no? Okay. Solve one more question. 2018. A more recent one. B. Bhanu Prasad, Geetanjali, others. Okay. Patel says only one. A. Okay. What do you guys have to say? Only one. The value of vote of each MLA varies from state to state, yes?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. The value of vote of MPs of Lok Sabha is more than that of value of vote of MPs of Rajya Sabha, yes or no?
No.
No. Why? It's fixed. How much?
700.
So the value of vote of MP of Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha is exactly the same. So 2 is wrong. Right answer is A, 1 only. Okay. Then solve the question that came last year or 2 years back now. Please read carefully and don't check the table. Only 2? Only 3? Okay. All 4? Only 2, only 3? Okay, let's see. No fighting, please, relax. The members nominated to either House of Parliament or the assemblies are also eligible, yes or no? Of course, they're not eligible. Not nominated, only elected members are eligible. One is wrong. Okay. So all 4 cannot be the answer. Higher the number of elective assembly seats, higher is the value of vote. Yes or no? If you look at the formula, please check the formula. The assembly seats are in the denominator. Yes or no? If denominator is higher, the value is lesser. No? In the fraction? Yes or no? So, in this formula, we are saying that if this value increases, then this value will decrease. Yes or no? And not increase. So, this means that this statement is also wrong. Okay. Let's look at the fourth one first. The value of vote of each MLA of Pondicherry is higher than that of Arunachal because, they give a reason also, because the ratio of total population to the total number of elective seats, which is a formula actually, that's a ratio, right, in Pondicherry is greater as compared to Arunachal. Makes more sense? Yes or no? Yes. Makes sense? Or not? Yes, this is correct. And you can check the data also. Data supports this. So they both have same population, but look at number of seats. So we have Arunachal around 4,67,000 and we have Pondicherry 4,17,000. Same population, but look at the number of seats, 8 and 16. And because of this, what happens? The vote value, 60 and 30. Because of which what happens? The vote value becomes double. Because Puducherry has only 30 MLAs. Numerator is only 30. Yes or no? Denominator. And for Arunachal, it's 60. So here, the vote value of Pondicherry MLA is 16, exactly double. Because the denominator is also exactly double. Yes or no? So if you increase the denominator, what happens? The vote value decreases. So the logic is also given correctly and the data is also supporting it. So this is correct. The vote value of each MLA of Pondicherry is higher. Yes or no? It is how much? 16. And for Arunachal it is how much? 8. Is it correct? So we have 2 wrong and 1 correct. So only 3 cannot be the right answer in these 2. Third one. So you all said that third one should be correct because you said only 2. The value of vote of each MLA of Madhya Pradesh is greater than that of Kerala. Logically, it feels fair. Na? Check the data in the table. The vote value of Kerala MLA is higher than MP MLA. Yes or no? Kerala MLA is how much? 152. And MP is 131. See? So this was a wrong statement and right answer is A, only 1. Now, do we have to mug up all the vote values? It is not humanly possible. Firstly, it is not possible. Secondly, these are questions which will surprise you. If you look at the previous questions asked from this very same topic, look at how easy and simple they were. And suddenly they have gone crazy completely. This was a year also where the UPSC had asked the most difficult questions, sometimes absurd also, and that's why the cutoff this year was 75 out of 200. If you ask these kind of questions, then of course it becomes a problem, right? Now in the exam, what do you do? So if you are able to eliminate 2 statements and you have to choose between 2 options, if you get to this point, always mark the answer. Always. Are you clear? If you have to choose between 1, the only condition is that what you have eliminated should not be the right answer. So if we are very confident that, okay, these two are wrong, this means A and B are the only right answers, then always attempt this answer. Are we clear on this? What is going to happen is maybe you make a mistake here, but if you do the same thing for 10 questions, ultimately you'll have 5 right and 5 wrong. So you will always end up in a positive. That's basic maths. If your luck factor is very bad, every time you choose something, you're always making mistakes only. Please get your Kundli verified first and then take such steps. But ideally, maths will not fail. So please always mark such answers. Are we clear? When you have only 2 options to choose from. Clear? But yes, and let this not fool you into preparation, because a single paper, a single question cannot change our pattern of studying. We can't go and mug up every night, sleepless nights, writing it everywhere. Before the exam also, all the vote values in the hand. Not required. This just happened once. If it happens again, we might have to study that also.
So, the second option, what if the population of the state is also...
But that is not a variable mentioned here now. So what is mentioned here is what we will follow. Here it simply says, higher the assembly seats, higher is the value of vote. This relationship only. Yes, we can add more things. But as far as the statement is concerned, we'll have to just look at this in isolation. Okay. So since that variable factor of numerator is not mentioned here, we will not be bothered about it. No, not just this statement in isolation completely. Are you clear? Okay. So this is how sometimes life can be difficult, but nevertheless, no problem. Let's now come back to our discussion on proportional representation as a concept as well as single transferable vote. Okay. So first up is the concept of proportional representation, right? Take the simplest of examples. Let's say there is a class and this class comprises of 100 students. And you have students from 3 categories. You have some arts students, 60 students belong to art stream, 30 from commerce stream, and then we have engineers also. Let's say 10 are engineers. Okay. This is the total constitution of the class. Now you want to have a debate on which is the best optional subject for UPSC. Arts optional, commerce optional, or some engineering optional. And we have to choose 10 students to debate on this. Now, how would you want that to be? Should we have all 10 from arts background only? Will that be a very fair representation? Of course not. What about 4-3-3? Will that be fair? Not really. The idea should be we should send you in the same proportion that you are in the population, right? If you send, let's say 5 engineering students here, 5 from them, then is it also not over representation of engineers? A very small number, and you choose too many from them. So what would a very proportional representation be? What do you think? We find out of 100 what percentage are art students. 60 out of 100, meaning how much percentage? 60%. 30 out of 100? 30%. And this is 10%. So if out of these 10 students, 60% are art students, 30% are commerce students, and 10% are engineers, that would be a proportional representation. Would you agree on this point? This means we should have 6 from arts background, 3 from commerce, and 1 from engineering. This is what is called proportional representation. Are you clear? You are in the same proportion that you are in the total population. It's only fair. In fact, the reservation concept is based on this only. We have a certain specific reservation for SCs and STs. 15% for SCs, 7.5 for STs. Why? Because SCs are around 15 to 16% in the total population. That is why. As simple as that. Or for example, let's say in this class, you have 50 girls and 50 boys. And we have to choose say 10 people on some gender study debate. How many will you choose? How many girls, how many boys? Five. Why not 8 boys and 2 girls? It would be a disproportionate representation for boys, right? Or maybe 9 girls and 1 boy, again wrong. Yes or no? Are you clear? This is the concept of proportional representation. The definition is very clear here. Electoral system in which the distribution of seats in a body is designed to closely reflect the proportion of votes received by different political parties or candidates. Are we clear? Just write this example and maybe this so that you understand what is the meaning of proportional representation. Class, then this. Here you can write choosing 10 students. Yes, 6, 3, 1, 5, 5. Very good. Are we done here? So this works very well if you have multiple posts. Representation in the same proportion that one is in the total population. You can mention this also as a statement. Representation in the same proportion please write next. How much will I write? Representation in the same proportion that one is in the total population. In the total population. Are you clear? Okay. Now there is a small problem. Same example. 50 boys, 50 girls. If we have to choose only one person, just one person, to represent the views of the class on gender equality or gender debate, who would you choose? If you go for voting also, it's 50-50. If you choose a boy, girls go unrepresented. If you choose girls, boys go unrepresented. Yes or no? What do you do? Merit. That is secondary, but if it is just based on election, then even if you choose merit, let's say a girl is chosen or a boy is chosen, the other group will go unrepresented completely. So will you have proportional representation? No. It will only happen when every group gets some kind of representation. But if the post is only one, the system will never work. Yes or no? How many posts do we have for the president? How will that work? So that is why in reality, even though we call it a proportional representation, this system is not applicable or does not work because there is only one post. Are we clear? Below this write the note. Note. In practice, it does not work because there is only one presidential post. There is only one presidential post. No doubt, this was what is called a proportional representation. So we also had one more phrase. Read that statement. The elections, indirect, and below that, what was that? By means of single transferable vote. Yes. How is the president elected? This slide. We are done. Single transferable vote. Okay. Now let's understand the single transferable vote part. See, life is all about choices. Like in UPSC also, okay, be safe, sir, be safe. In UPSC also, you mark preferences. The first preference is IAS, second would be IPS, then some other preferences. I hope you are aware of this. Don't just mark one IAS or nothing. You can do that also, but nobody will take the risk. They mark preferences. Let's say you go to watch a movie and you see 3 movies playing. One movie, let's say, is of, I don't know who you are a fan of, Jai Balya. Then second, sorry, Aishwarya Rai. NTR. Okay, Junior NTR. Second movie is of NTR. Third movie says of, say, Ananya Pandey. Prabhas. Okay, sir. Prabhas. Fourth is Ananya Pandey. You know Ananya Pandey?
Yes.
Okay. 4. Now let's say somebody here is a fan of, say, Prabhas. He goes and that's the first choice of his movie. But what if there are other fans also? The ticket is house full. So you say, okay, if I don't get a ticket of Prabhas movie, I might go and watch an NTR movie. Possible. That's your second choice. Right? Somebody else could say, no, my first choice is NTR, first movie. If that is house full, maybe Balya's movie or maybe Prabhas movie, third choice. Possible. Some might be fans of Ananya Pandey also. And they might go and find there are more fans of Ananya Pandey. And it's all houseful. Then it's okay. Maybe some other movie. Or you can also say, okay, I'm a fan of Ananya Pandey. These cringe-worthy movies. This or nothing else. That's also possible. So you are marking preferences in life. Yes or? In job, hair, everywhere. When you send nice DP to somebody, preference only. First you try here, nice DP, good morning. Then somebody else. Once you get blocked there, next try, nice DP. Third try, very nice DP. You keep on trying, preferences. That's how life is. So here also, it's an exact same system, which is very much clear through the ballot paper that you see. This is a election commission's released photograph of ballot paper, right? So this is a ballot paper for MLAs from a state. Which state is that? It is not required for you to see the ballot paper. Don't worry, just see it here only. This is for the state of Bihar. So MLAs of Bihar will get this ballot paper. Clear? And they have to mark their preference here. Now, these are all the candidates. JB, Rajesh Kumar Singh, Ravi Yadav, Rohit Kumar. This is a sample ballot paper. Clear? Now, you are an MLA of Bihar. So, Acha, what is this 173 mentioned here? Any idea? There is a vote value of the MLA of Bihar. So, let's say you are an MLA of Bihar and you see, okay, your first choice is Jaibir. Second choice is Ravi Yadav. Third choice is Rajesh Kumar Singh. Fourth choice is Rohit Kumar. You have made all preferences. Now, marking all preferences is not mandatory. Clear? So, what happens now? This vote goes to which person? Jaibir. And how many votes go to him? 1 into 173 votes, right? For Jaibir. Now, if you are an MP in the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, let's say your first choice is Rajesh Kumar Singh. And that's it. You say, no, nobody else. So, now, this vote goes to which person? Rajesh Kumar Singh. And how many votes go to him? 700. Yes or no? Then what is the use of single transferable vote? Let me explain this point now. Votes are transferred? Okay. Let's add a slide or else it will get deleted here. So, let's say we have some candidates. Candidate A, candidate B, candidate C. These are people who are contesting elections for the post of president. Contestants. And then you have some voters. Voters who are a part of what? Electoral college. So let's say there is a voter P. This voter gets a ballot paper with all the names mentioned. A, B, C. A voter Q is there. He also gets a ballot paper. A, B, C mentioned. R, A, B, C. Maybe there is a voter S. He gets a ballot paper with A, B, and C. Okay. Let's say total number of votes are 10,000. So total quota of votes, let's assume it is 10,000. Okay. So what's the criteria to win? The winner's criteria is very simple. If you get more than half of the quota, meaning 50% plus 1. The moment anybody gets 50% plus 1 votes, he wins the election. So here 50% means what? 5,000 plus 1, meaning what? So I hope you are aware now that the winner will be declared if he gets how many votes? Okay. Let's say P says my first choice is C, second choice is B, third choice is A. Q says first choice is B, second choice is A, that's it. R says my first and last choice is A. S is an overthinker and he marks both as my first choice, can't decide. If you do this kind of nonsense, your vote becomes invalid. Okay? Marking only one preference clearly. Now let's allocate these votes. So this vote goes to whom? C. This vote goes to whom? B. This vote goes to whom? A. Right now we are only bothered with the choice, first choice. That's it. Let's say similarly so many other votes were received by A and B, right? If A in total received say 4,500 votes, B received 4,300 votes and C received say 700 votes, then it's still short of 9. Let's add some more here. A receives 4,800 and this would be how much? 45. Okay. Now all 10,000 votes have been distributed. Done? Tell me who is the winner? Winner should get how many votes? Who got those many votes? Nobody. Nobody is a winner. So now we'll start eliminating the worst performer, whoever got the least number of first choices. This is C. Let's say this was an MP whose vote value was 700. We have to eliminate now C. I hope you understand why we are eliminating C. Worst performer? Eliminate him. This means he is eliminated from all the ballot papers. This means that whoever voted for C, if C cannot become the president, what is their next option? B. So this now becomes 1, this becomes 2. Yes or no? So now this vote of P will go to whom? You tell me. B. Second choice. But if you went to a theatre and the movie was full, you go for your second choice. So since C cannot win now, the vote of P will now go to whom? B. Plus 700. Now add it. 5,200. Add this. 4,800. Now do we have a winner? Yes. Who is the winner? B is the winner. So not after first round of counting, but after second round of counting, we have a winner. This is the idea of transferring the votes. If after first round of counting, nobody is declared the winner, then we keep removing the worst performer until we get the required number of quota of votes for one person. This is called single transferable vote. Are we clear on this point? Everyone? Okay, though these won't be asked in the exam, but still you should understand how the system basically works. Please.
What if the worst performer does not have a second preference? Like,
Then no problem.
only the one person. Then the first will be first.
See, no. If it so happens that there is an equality of between A and B, let's say, if that happens, right? Equal number of votes. Then what happens? Then the law is very simple. Not just this election, any kind of election. If we have two people with the same number of votes, then we follow a lottery system. Luck factor. Draw of lots. Are we clear? Both these people's name will be mentioned in the chit, thrown, one is picked, winner. That's it. If it ever happens, then we have a simple system of draw of lots. Are we clear? It has not happened so far, but we'll also want to have the fun to see who is so unlucky that he almost reached and still lost. Are you clear? Okay, please write. Write under this topic single transferable vote. First point. Members of Electoral College mark their preferences in the ballot papers provided. Mark their preferences in the ballot papers provided. Second point. These votes are then allocated. These votes are then allocated to various candidates. Third point. After counting, comma, the candidate who gets the required quota of votes, in bracket, right? 50% plus 1. Required quota of votes is declared the winner. Next point. If no candidate is able to secure this desired quota, then the candidate with the least first preference votes is eliminated and votes received by him or her, are transferred among the other candidates, based on next preference. Based on next preference, full stop, last point. This process is repeated. This process is repeated till a winner is declared. Till a winner is declared / returned. See, the correct term is returning a winner, but you can use declared also. Till a winner is declared or returned. Are you clear on this point? This is called single transferable vote. Now, see, back in those days, there were a lot of people who used to contest elections. A lot of these people. And it would make sense for the transfer. But nowadays, only 2 people contest. So, if you have remote, just stop. It stopped. Okay. So, if you have only 2 people to contest, then how would the system work? It won't work, right? Either choose this or this. So, even here, we don't see this process working nowadays because you don't need the transfer. You only have 2 candidates. So, one is always declared the winner. This will only work if you have multiple people, right? In this case, 3 people were there. If only 2 were there, then somebody would have obtained the majority after first round only. Yes or no? Right? So, this is also there. But anyway, we follow this kind of system of single transferable vote. Clear? Okay. So, that was it. Now, coming to this. What if there is some electoral dispute that takes place? What if the elections, in your games and sports that you play, the loser always says cheating, right? That's a standard. What if cheating actually takes place, right? So, certain things have to be understood by you. Number 1 is that if there is any election dispute relating to the election of the president or the VP, the disputes can only be resolved by the Supreme Court. Are you clear? So, that's point number 1, to be resolved by Supreme Court only. Okay. So, this is one. Now, of course, you can go to Supreme Court, no problem, but who can go to Supreme Court is also a question. So, either you can write who can complain. So, it will either be the candidate or electors. Who are electors? Electors meaning voters. Who are voters here? MP and MLA. So, at least 20 MPs or MLAs. Only they can approach. So, we can't go and complain. That's not possible. Those people who vote in the election, they can complain. Or of course, the ones who contested, who have lost maybe, they can cry cheating. That's possible. Clear? Now, also, please understand, this should be done within 30 days. Don't go after 4 years. After 4 years, that some cheating had happened. I come after 4 years now. No. Within 30 days only. 30 days of declaration of result, you have to approach. If no, chance is gone. Clear? Okay. Now, let's say when the voting was going on, some MLAs in some state had passed away, died. While coming for voting, they were coming in a car. The car crashed and they died. Let's assume. I'm not saying let's hope. I'm saying let's assume. Right? They passed away. Now, in this situation, of course, those votes could not be cast. So, can this be used for a re-election? Okay, because they could not cast the vote. Let's have re-election. No. Just because there is some vacancy in the electoral college will not mean you can challenge it. Legitimacy of the election cannot be challenged based on vacancies in the electoral college. Are we clear? Of any kind. Think of it like this. If on the date of voting for your Lok Sabha Vidhan Sabha elections, you are not well, you don't go to vote, can you use this to claim re-election? Of course not. To hell with you. Nobody cares. Right? Simple. So here also, if some MLAs are not there, etc., in some state there is some president's rule, it does not matter. Those votes are gone. Nobody cares. Are we clear? Election to the post of president cannot be postponed like this. And also, let's say the president is elected today. What is the date today? 2104. This is the date of the president getting elected. Now, within 30 days, you can challenge the election. Let's say this is challenged on 15th of May. Can this be challenged within 30 days? Okay. And then the court case goes on. And finally, on the 9th of August, the court case comes and the court says, President, sorry, you have to step down. Election is declared void. Okay. Now, in this entire duration, this person was acting as a president. He had won the election. And he must have signed a lot of bills. Or should we say, given assent to a lot of bills? Yes or no? Now, once his election is declared invalid, my question to you is, will all the actions taken by him be undone or will continue? Will continue. Are you clear? Whatever steps he took while being the president, they will not be declared void because his election has been cancelled. Clear? If the Supreme Court voids meaning cancels, a president's election, actions they took while in office before the decision of the court remain valid. Are we clear on this point? Everyone? So whatever they did is all valid. Okay? All this is a part of Article 71. Important article. Doubt? No doubt? Great then. Should we proceed? Okay. Now, why are elections indirect? So, Ambedkar actually had also clarified, Nehru also said, what is the point of a direct election? Direct meaning people would go and vote. What's the point? This person is a nominal head. Nominal meaning not a real head. No real powers. If this person is a nominal head, you are simply going to waste the resources of time as well as money to elect somebody with no real authority or power. So it's a wastage of time and money. Wastage of resources. Right? That's one reason. Otherwise, one argument is also that if you have direct election for the post of president, then it might also compromise with the PM's post. Because PM is also there. Now, president is elected directly by the people. Now, president will claim, I am the real boss. People have chosen me. See, in a democracy, who is the real boss? Who people chose. If people will choose you, you are the real boss. So we don't want to, or we rather want to avoid any kind of rivalry between the president and the PM. Right? No competition for the prime minister, uselessly. And also think of it, all these politicians, they, before the elections, they go to various states, etc., and take part in rallies and give all these speeches, making all these false promises, making all these promises that once they come to power, they'll do great things. My point is, how are they able to make this kind of promise? Because if they come to power, they may or may not, they may be able to deliver on the promises also. Yes or no? If they come to power, they have at least the authority to perform those actions. So they can actually deliver on those promises. But since the president does not have any power, when he or she will go and seek some votes, on what ground? What will they tell the people? Vote for me because my smile is nice, my dress is nice, I'll give you a free visit to Rashtrapati Bhavan, I'll have tea with you, selfie with you. That's what they can promise. No? They have no real power. So how will they seek votes? Only on personal issues, that please vote for me. I have not had anything nice in my life, just this once. Like Indian Idol votes, all these dance show votes. Don't vote on talent, vote on the emotional background. Same thing will happen. So, such an election would be contested on personal issues, not real issues. Why? Because president has again the same story, no authority. What can he promise? He has no control over anything, right? That's also a problem. And lastly, of course, see, the political act is again something, I'm not saying it is demeaning, but you go to people, seek votes, you have to play all these tacts, appeal to people, emotional drama, all this has to be done. We want the president to be above all this petty politics. We want somebody to be elected who is a true statesman, a true leader, who is devoid of, free from this party politics. He should be a neutral person. He should not go up to people and plead, please vote for me, please vote for me. No, we want to elect somebody who is a statesman, a true leader, who can rise above party politics. We don't want him to play politics. You don't have to campaign. Don't campaign. Sit there. MPs may vote for you if they like you. That's it. Are you clear? So primarily the first reason and some other reasons also. And that is why the election for the post of president is indirect and not direct. Done? Okay. And the last point is some other conditions. Just like in UPSC, when you fill up the form, there are some conditions. Yes, you have to be a graduate or submit some certificate later on, etc. Similarly, to contest for the post of president, you have to have some conditions. Like what? Back in 1950s and 60s, what would happen was 30-40 people would give their name for contesting elections. Okay, 30-40 people. Now the problem is that if you give your name as a candidate, then election commission has to publish or print your name in the ballot paper. Yes or no? And you are receiving 0 votes. Nobody knows them. Not even their spouse knows them properly. But still they have their name in the list. It's an additional burden for the election commission. Non-serious people. Look at UPSC only. There are every year 10 lakh people fill up the forms. 10 lakh. It's country's pastime. 5 lakh go and sit for prelims. Because winning 5, I have realized. See, when somebody stops you on the road, right? A police constable, you'll be very angry. You go home, I will teach him a lesson. I'll be clear UPSC, become IPS officer. And then you open the syllabus. And then, sorry. By mistake, I said all these things. Life is unfair. This is how it is. So, 30 people are contesting. It's all useless. They will not get a single vote. So, ECI added some, government also added some criteria. So, one criteria is very interesting. If you want to contest elections, you have to get the signature of 50 electors. Who are these electors? Electors are those MPs and MLAs. 50 signatures are required as proposers. Proposer meaning somebody who proposes your name, like a guarantor. So they have to, when they file the nomination, they have to get a sign of 50 MPs, MLAs, any combination. And not just this, another 50 MPs, MLAs as seconder. Seconder means those who approve the proposer. That yes, we also agree that he should contest, she should contest. 100 signatures of MP, MLAs. A common person cannot get to meet one MLA MP in their life. This is an elimination technique to eliminate all the non-serious people. But if you are not a famous politician, how will you get the signs of 100 MPs, MLAs? Yes or no? So only serious people, the top politicians, they're able to contest. And one more criteria is there, which is this one, that if you want to contest, remember in your school days, your PG, etc., they take this deposit, right? Which they'll never return to you anyway. Especially in your PG, they'll find some way to eliminate the money, right? So here they return it, don't worry. So here also, all those candidates who are contesting elections, they have to deposit a huge sum of 15,000 rupees, okay, with RBI. You can do it in the form of demand draft, check, cash, etc. I don't know, GPay may be allowed nowadays, we don't know. Now, this amount is returned to all of you. Don't worry, not all of you, I mean the candidates. Even if they lose the election, it will be returned. But the condition is, if you fail to get 1/6 of the votes required to win the election, let's say the votes required to win the election was 5,001 in our example. If you get less than 1/6 of these votes also, shameful performance, then the money will not be given back to you. Money has been seized. Otherwise, you get the money back. Don't worry. Are you clear? These two criteria. This is the primary criteria which prevents non-serious people. Imagine if this happens in UPSC, that to fill up the form, you need the signature of 50 IAS officers. Another 50 to approve that. Right? So that would not be fair, but here. And people have challenged this in the court also, that this is unfair. How can a common person get a signature of 100 MPs, MLAs and all? Court said, don't treat it as leave, please. Because this is meant for serious politicians only. Right? Like in 1977-78, Neelam Sanjeev Reddy, at that point of time, there were 37 people who filled up the form to contest elections. 37, including him. And 36 people, their forms are all wrong, all rejected. Only one person, his was selected, the form. No election, because only one person. He got elected unopposed. Imagine there are 1,000 seats in UPSC and you are the only person who goes there. Of course, you will be selected. Don't hope for all these things. This would happen to you, but it happened to him. The only president to be elected unopposed. But otherwise, yes, elections do take place and this is the procedure. Are you clear? Okay. Let's end our discussion here only today. I think we have crossed time. 1:30 was the time or 2 o'clock? Okay. Relax. 1:30 was the time. So, okay, if you have doubts, I am here to address your doubts, and otherwise, feel free to revise and let's meet tomorrow. Okay, that's all for me. Jai Hind.